And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Michael versus White. Step forward, please.
19-year-old student Anna Michael is suing her former roommate, 20-year-old receptionist Bridget White, for the return of a computer. Bridget is countersuing, claiming Anna broke their apartment lease.
Miss Michael, you and the defendant were best friends, roommates, and it is your claim that the defendant took from you a computer that you had paid for, or mostly paid for, and you want $1,000 that you had put into the computer that she took.
Correct.
That's your claim. Miss White says that, yes, she took the computer.
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the arrangement was it was going to be yours when you fully paid for it, and you still owed some $300 on the computer. When you paid the $300, the computer would be yours. Is that right?
Yes.
So she gets her money, she's got the computer, which I assume is in good condition.
Yes.
Good. Now, Miss White has a counterclaim. She says you stuck her with 11 months on a 12-month lease. She was able to negotiate herself out of the lease, but as a result of that, she lost her security deposit because you left.
Correct.
So she wants that money back from you since you left the apartment. And she also says that you took with you a camera that was half hers. She will explain to me. So let's take care of the computer first. Can I see the receipt for the computer? How much it cost? Total purchase, $1,314. You paid $1,000.
Correct.
So you owe her $314.38.
Correct.
Correct? So you're going to give her that, and she's going to give you back the computer.
I've tried.
Do you understand?
Yes.
5 days from today's date, we will make a transfer. You will get your $314.38. She will get her computer. Is that clear?
Yes. Correct.
Oh, you're not going to get much more out of her. Correct. Correct. Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Anna Michael says former roommate Bridget White owes for the return of her computer.
Now, let's talk about this lease. How much was your security deposit?
The total security deposit was $400. I paid $266.66, and she paid $133.37.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Perfect. Now, tell me why you left.
I left because it was an unsafe environment for me.
Explain it.
Her boyfriend was living with us. He occupied the second room. He was involved with illegal activity. I did not want to live that kind of lifestyle anymore. I didn't want to put myself in that position or environment, so I left.
Well, you mean he was selling drugs or using them?
Selling them, yes. I could smell the marijuana in the room. Using them, I have no proof.
Yes, you could smell the
I think it's the other way around.
I think you meant to switch that around.
Oh.
That
Well,
he-
like, there was...
That you could smell it, so yes, he was using it, but you don't know if he was selling it because you don't have any information about that.
Well, I saw there was money on her bed at multiple times. And it was a large sum of money, so I knew he was dealing with it.
So then both you smelled it and he was selling it, right? Smell and sell.
Yes.
Now, Miss Michael, you said you didn't want to be involved in that lifestyle anymore. Had you been involved in that lifestyle previously?
No, ma'am.
So you misspoke when you said you didn't
Yes,
want to
I
be
did
involved. Misspeak.
Misspeak.
I say you misspoke, you say yes. Did misspeak.
Correct.
Correct. Love this case. So did you have an argument? She told you she moved out?
She never gave me a reason. I came home at lunch and she was gone.
Really?
Mm-hmm. She called me that Friday morning at work and said, "I'm leaving."
Okay. Now, the lease was in whose name?
Hers, mine, and 2 other girls.
What about your boyfriend?
He wasn't living there.
Was he staying over?
He actually stayed for 3 days. That was a couple weeks before that.
Why
3
did you
days.
leave?
I left because of her boyfriend.
Then why didn't you say to her, if your boyfriend comes to stay here and is going to be involved in drugs, I'm going to have to leave? Instead of just saying, I'm leaving, I'm out of here.
Well, it wasn't that easy.
Well, explain it to me.
We had a roommate, and she left on the 11th of July. And so in order to compensate for that month's rent, Bridget brought in her boyfriend, which I interpreted and was led to believe that he would pay for the rest of the money of that month. So he was living there. I did not know that he was going to be involved with legal behavior inside our room. I did not know that. So I told her I would no longer live with him, and I would not live with him through her. And because of that, I left.
All right, now talk to me about the camera.
For our birthdays, which are a week apart, her sister, who is a good friend of mine, bought us both a camera. And it was to both of us, and when she left, she took it with her.
So you think her sister bought you a present?
No, it was for both of us. She bought us more than just the camera for our birthdays. Her sister was a good
somebody had
friend
to
of
take
mine.
the camera.
Huh?
What's huh? Somebody had to take the camera.
Yes. She actually took it. She didn't discuss anything with me, so I just said, that's fine. If you'd like it, you can pay me for half the value.
She's not going to pay you anything for the camera that her sister bought for her birthday. This is the way we're going to resolve this, ladies. Listen very carefully. You would ordinarily have to pay her, in order to get your computer back, $314. Do you understand?
Correct.
That means you pay her $314. You also owe her $266. Do you understand? She shouldn't be responsible for your skipping out. You should have made proper arrangements. When you move in to a place, you're supposed to make arrangements if you want to move out, not just to say toodaloo and the people who were there are stuck. She lost her security deposit.
So did I.
So?
What does that make? I don't.
So you lost your security deposit, but you caused her to lose hers also.
But she signed off on a transfer lease.
So?
I couldn't live there anymore.
I don't know where you went. Where did you go?
I was homeless for a week.
Where did you sleep?
On the floor with in my friend's room.
That's not being homeless. That's being young. Listen to me. On your counterclaim, I'm awarding you $588. That is $314 for the computer and $266 for the money that you were out as a result of this aborted lease. You will get your computer back. Clear?
Clear.
Good. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I'm happy with the outcome. I just think it's unfortunate that people can get away with what they do.
People change. I mean, that's time.
No more roommates.
Choose your friends wisely.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brown versus Knox. Step forward, please.
College professor Daniel Brown is suing his former student, 22-year-old Rebecca Knox, for a class trip to Europe.
Do you have a PhD?
No, no, ma'am.
So you are Mr. Brown.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Mr. Brown, you are a professor
Yes,
at the college level,
yes, ma'am.
and the defendant was a student of yours.
Correct.
According to you, you made a loan to her in order to enable her to accompany you last year, along with some other students, on a trip to Europe.
Yes,
And she has not paid you back.
correct.
Ms. Knox acknowledges that you gave her the money for the trip. She said there was never any agreement to pay you back, and it was a gift.
Totally untrue.
Just a minute. Is that your
Correct.
defense? No. You acknowledge that he gave you this money.
Correct.
When did he give it to you?
I believe it was in February of 2002.
I want you to tell me, the circumstances surrounding him giving you this money.
As he had said, he takes a group of students each semester across the seas to different locations in Europe.
Okay, how many students does he take?
It depends on how many are actually interested in going.
How many were interested going on the trip that you went on?
We had 5 girls and 1 boy, so there were 6 of us.
Okay, so tell me what happened in February.
I had actually expressed interest in going. The trip was...
What do you mean you expressed interest? What does that mean?
The trip was to Ireland, England, and Scotland, and I've always wanted to travel. I'm a history major, and England is actually my basis of what my emphasis is going to be. And so I went to his office, and I just asked for a little bit more information about the trip, and I got brochures and the cost and the itinerary. And I took the information home. I looked over it, looked at the money. It was a little bit out of my reach. I didn't have the money saved up quite yet.
How much was the money?
$2,500.
Go ahead.
And
You say you didn't have it saved up yet. Were you saving for it?
I knew he took people on trips, so I had saved up just a little bit of money.
How much did you save?
It was about $300. I didn't know the full cost.
How long was this trip?
It was originally supposed to be for 17 days, and then it got shortened to 11 days.
Okay, well, you didn't think the $300 was going to take you for 11 days.
No, not at all.
Good. So you got the brochures, you looked at it, and you saw that that you didn't have enough money.
Right. So I went to my bank to see if I could actually apply for a loan, and they said that they probably wouldn't be able to give me a loan. And so I went back and talked to Mr. Brown about it, and he had...
Well, what do you mean you went back and talked to him about it?
I just talked to him about the trip and said that it was...
You went to his office?
Correct.
So you went to his office, and you said what to him?
And I told him that I'd look into other ways of financing it, as to loans and things like that, and he had mentioned that he might be able to give me the money. And I was, oh, okay, well, that was nice. Thank you. And the next day at class, he handed me a check for $2,500.
And what did you say?
I said, thank you.
Good. Now I'll hear your version of the story, Mr. Brown.
Your Honor, a great deal of what she says is true. The one emphatic word I would leave out would be give. I made it very clear to Miss Knox it would be a loan. And
tell me what she said to you when she came to your office.
she said she'd like to go. And that she did not. She said she was investigating perhaps going to a bank, perhaps to get a loan. And I happen to know a colleague who also had Miss Knox in class, and I had been made aware there had been a bit of a tragedy in the home. And
in her
so,
home?
Well, my understanding is her sister had been killed in an accident. So, kind of, you know, tugged the heartstrings. And so I said, I'll tell you what I'll do. Start making payments once you get back. And I'll forward you the money, because I knew she wanted to go to England and she was very interested, and she'd been a good student. So I said, I'll help invest. In the only regard is I need to get the payments within a certain amount of time when you come back. I have children that are in school and I pay tuition. And she agreed. And Your Honor, if I could, I have the check, February 9th. And on the memo it says personal loan, L-O-A-N.
Mr. Brown, it's a very easy case. I believe you. I don't believe you. Period. End of discussion. I don't see any reason why this man who took 5 people and you on a tour would say to you, I'm going to give you the money. I don't see it. Do you?
I guess not.
I guess not either. So if it doesn't sound right, if it doesn't have the ring of truth to it, it's usually not the truth. How much did you give her, which was a loan, sir?
$2,500.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was a bit of an ordeal to try and get to find Miss Knox.
I just didn't believe I owed him the money.
It was a bad lesson to learn, and unfortunately I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, and bad decision on my part.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Cleary versus Gray, step forward, please.
Homemaker Sandy Cleary and her son, 5-year-old Nicholas, are suing their neighbor, accounts receivable clerk Cynthia Gray. Sandy claims Cynthia's dog bit Nicholas in the face.
Miss Cleary, this is your little boy?
Yes.
What's your name?
Nicholas?
Nicholas, why don't you come up here? You're going to sit right up here next to me.
There you go.
Nicholas, how old are you?
5.
You know who I am?
It's Judy.
Right. Do you ever watch me on television? You know what it is to be in court? Is this court where you are now? Okay. You know you have to tell the truth when you're in court, right? Okay, Nicholas, you just sit there. I'll be back to you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
The fence doesn't work too well. The gate doesn't work too well. Where are you?
It happened so quickly.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened, he went inside.
And you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sandy Cleary says neighbor Cynthia Gray's dog bit her 5-year-old son Nicholas in the face.
Show me where you were bitten, Nicholas.
On my nose.
On your nose? Looks okay to me. Is it all better now? It's all better? Good. Miss Cleary, you and the defendant are neighbors, and according to your complaint, one of her dogs bit your son.
Correct.
You want her to pay you $5,000 for whatever. Pain, suffering, a whole bunch of other things. How far away do you live from Mrs. Gray?
We have an apartment complex that we live in, and there's a home dividing Cindy's home to our apartment complex.
She lives in a private house.
Correct.
With a yard.
Correct.
With a fenced yard.
Yes.
How high is the fence?
It's probably about Nicholas's height, maybe a little bit taller.
And what kind of dogs does she have?
She has a medium-sized dog, mixed breed, and a little Chihuahua-sized dog.
Okay, and her dogs are behind the fence.
Correct.
Always behind the fence, unless she's walking them.
Well, not so correct on that one. Sometimes the dogs are free to either get out with the children also in the neighborhood to go in.
No, the children don't go in, I assume, unless their parents are with them.
Well, Cindy has also a young son And my children, as well as other neighborhood children, have been able to go into the backyard to see if he's there to play.
Okay.
Versus the front door, actually.
No, but you wouldn't allow your 5-year-old to go there.
No.
Of course not. So on what date was Nicholas bitten?
September 10th.
And where were you?
I was in the front yard of our apartment complex.
And who was with Nicholas?
His little friend, Lily.
How old is Lily?
She's the same age.
So you have 2 5-year-olds. And you were watching them?
Yes.
Well, tell me what happened.
Well, what happened was Nicholas and Lily both had asked if they could go see Nina and Riley.
Nina and Riley are the 2 dogs?
The 2 dogs, correct.
Yes.
And I said that would be okay, but it didn't look as if anybody was home and to please not go into the fence, as children always do. And he said okay, and the last I knew, he went to go and see the dogs and then started screaming.
Just a minute. When he and Lily, also age 5, went over to the defendant's home, could you see your son?
No, Your Honor, I could not.
Why not?
Because, I mean, it's very close quarters. Her driveway goes back a little further than where ours does.
Yes.
It happened very quickly. My older son had also gone over there with them.
Where's your older son?
He's not here today. He didn't see what happened as well.
Then I don't need him here. So what you're saying is your son went into her yard.
Yes. The gate has never been a real well-shutting gate.
That's not the issue, whether it's shut well or not. Ms. Cleary, you are the parent.
Correct.
You have a responsibility. You have a 5-year-old child. Your 5-year-old child should not be out of your sight when playing out in the street. And if your 5-year-old child comes to you and says, I want to go and play with the 2 dogs, and you believe, as you said, that the defendant is not home or that nobody is home, you get off your duff and you get up and you say, you want to go and see the dogs, I will go with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Madam, this is your fault. This is not the defendant's fault. She has 2 dogs. Her dogs are behind a fence, well protected. If your son hadn't gone into the yard, your son would not have gotten bitten. And you just told me that the fence doesn't work too well, the gate doesn't work too well. Where are you? I mean, you're out talking to a friend? It's your job to watch him. And if you were negligent in taking care of your own son, don't blame anybody else.
Your Honor, I am not blaming anybody else. It happened so quickly. I instructed him that he could only pet the dogs over the fence, as he always does. The children and him, they always pet the dogs.
So where was he when it happened?
The gate had opened, he went inside.
Then you weren't close enough, Miss Cleary.
I disagree, Your Honor, but...
Well, that's your prerogative to disagree. I'm telling you, it's your fault. It's not her fault. Your son went into her property, and you were outside, and it's your responsibility to take care of your child. It's not her responsibility to take care of your child. And you had the opportunity to do that by taking him by the hand with his friend Lily, walking him over to the fence, saying, I want to go and pet the dogs. Fine. Don't go into the yard, because you don't know what 2 5-year-olds do. 2 5-year-olds don't always have judgment. And this is a situation where you're looking to blame somebody else for your negligence, malfeasance, lack of proper parenting, and you're not going to do that here. Your case is dismissed. You were wonderful, Nicholas. Goodbye.
These are excuses. You may step out.
She needs to learn her parenting much better.
It was simply an accident.
I think Nicholas is really sweet, but I don't think it was my dogs.
Actually, this woman had no concern for my son.
I'd ask many times to keep him home when I wasn't home.
This woman has harassed my family and I numerous times.
She came down screaming and yelling the night of the 10th.
Actually,
you
I
can't
asked
really
if the dog
speak
was
to her. You have
vaccinated.
to scream and yell.
She came out basically very defensive, saying his blood was on her side of the property.
She went off with her little friend screaming and yelling that they're going to effing sue you, effing this, effing that, just like every day goes.
He was screaming with a face full of blood.
We're in escrow on a new house, and we get to get away from the screaming maniac.
She wasn't very nice about it. There was no apology. None.
There won't be.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of DeCuckoo versus Carr. Step forward, please.
19-year-old spa attendant Teresa DeCuckoo is suing her ex-roommate, 20-year-old spa attendant Carol Carr, for breaking a lease. Carol says she gave proper notice.
According to your complaint, Mr. Cuckoo, you and the defendant leased an apartment together. You've been friends for a long time. You thought it would work out. After a couple of months, the defendant moved out.
That's correct, Your Honor.
And you want her to be responsible for her half of the rent for the remainder of the lease so that it doesn't destroy your credit.
That's correct.
Defendant said she thought she was being more than fair. She had to move out. And she says you should get another roommate. When did you sign this lease?
July 14th, 2002.
What was the rent?
The rent was $925. $512.50 was her responsibility.
Are you still there?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
No,
What
I'm not.
happened?
I moved back in with my mother
When?
at the end of October.
Did they re-rent the apartment?
I am not sure, Your Honor.
Well, have you gotten any notifications from the landlord with regard to rent that the landlord
Yes,
claims
I
you
do.
owe? Let me see.
This is my 30-day notice to vacate the apartment.
I'm talking about after you left.
After I left,
Because according to the defendant paid the rent, gave you a check for rent for September. She moved out September 1st, but she gave you her share of September's rent. Is that correct?
Yes, that
And you
is.
don't dispute that, is that right?
no, I don't.
Okay. And you moved out the end of October. So
Yes.
we have October's rent,
Right.
right? Which, based upon what you tell me, is $512.50 would be her share of October's rent up until the time you moved out, and you're suing her for $2,800.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're going to have to explain that to me.
Yes. Right. These are the payments I made, and because it's for the lease break and everything. That's right when I moved out. That was the payment agreement from the landlord.
The fees that she was charged to break the lease were $1,836, Ms. Carr.
Yes.
Half of $1,836 is $918. I want you to explain to me why you should not be responsible for $918.
Okay, I gave my 30 days notice like required in the lease contract.
Your
If I
Honor,
needed
that
to
isn't
move
true.
out.
I don't want to hear you unless I come back and look at you. Do you understand?
Yes.
So
No. Pay careful attention to me. You show me your lease, which says that if you give them 30 days notice, you're allowed to break your lease with no consequence by
doesn't-
giving them 30 days notice.
I have where it says the 30 days notice section right here.
What does it say? Read it.
Full term unless owner consents in writing, residence agrees not to move out of the apartment prior to the end of the lease term or renewal of the extension period without the rentals of the entire lease term or renewal or extension period being
Ms. Carr,
paid in
you know what
full.
that means? It means that if the owner agrees, the owner, did the owner agree that you move out?
I gave them my written notice. They didn't argue with me.
Ms. Carr, you don't get it. A lease means that if you pay your rent and are a good tenant, the landlord can't throw you out for 12 months. And it means that you are responsible for the rent for 12 months. Just if you decide in the middle of the lease that you don't want to live there anymore, you just can't give them 30 days notice and move out.
Well, I had a bad car accident
That's
at
not
the
her
beginning
problem.
of the month, and that's why.
That's not her problem. That's your problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have to be a grown-up. Your first responsibility was you signed a lease with somebody else. Somebody else that could not afford the apartment by themselves. So if it's a toss-up between you putting money towards a new car and moving back with your parents so that you can pay for the car and living up to your pre-existing responsibility, you have to live up to your pre-existing responsibility. That's a grown-up. You do, however, have to accept your part of the responsibility, which is you had a roommate. It didn't work out. She moved out for whatever reason. You couldn't live there by yourself. It's a very good lesson. You don't take an apartment with a roommate for more rent than you can pay by yourself. The whole thing. Because otherwise you have to move out and you have these fees. She's not going to pay the whole fee, only half. Do you understand?
I actually have other expenses that has incurred while she was there.
Like what?
I have a copy of a couple utility bills that she refused to pay for.
Can I say a comment about that? Actually, I paid half of the cable and the power. She never gave me a copy of the phone bill. Claimed I could get it at Sprint.com, but without any account number, I can't access
Is this a
that.
phone bill?
It's a phone bill and a power bill, Your Honor.
Is this 10346?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, is that for September?
That's for 3 months total.
Up through September 25th?
Yes.
Sprint bill, power bill was $38.75, and that was date to next meter reading October 16th, so that was through September. No. Not responsible for the power bill. $969. Ladies, it's too bad your friendship is over.
Your Honor, I have one more thing.
Which is?
I did try to contact her,
Which
and
is
she
what?
refused to sign. She refused
Well, she was
contact.
Shh, just a minute. What do you want?
She was harassing me.
I didn't. I'm not looking at you. So?
She had refused a letter I sent to her house.
So what?
Saying her statements.
So what? What does that have to do with what I'm talking about now?
Nothing.
Good.
But, excuse me, I also have one more thing.
What?
My moving costs that I had to vacate the apartment with.
That's your problem. Your moving costs are your problem. Sometimes when you take a roommate and things don't work out, you have to move. You think that she's going to pay your moving expenses?
At least half.
Get a roommate. I said you don't have to. You shouldn't be forced to get a roommate if you don't want to, but because you chose not to get another roommate or try to get another roommate and chose to move out, you incurred certain expenses. She's responsible for half of your break lease expenses because she did in fact break the lease. So did you. $969 is what she owes you. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused.
I feel that she should have owed me more since she just decided to walk out, especially the day after my birthday.
She just went crazy and, irrational behaviors, so.
At least I had a legal job, unlike her, who ended up on the internet doing stripping jobs.
She was harassing me at my house, my work, calling me and my mom at all hours of the day and night.
No. Why would I want to stalk her anyway?
Bus driver Joe Simon is suing his ex-fiancée, student Heidi Ream, for the return of an engagement ring. Heidi says it's been stolen.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 482 on the calendar in the matter of Simon versus Ream. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Folks, have a seat.
Mr. Simons, a relatively simple case. You want the engagement ring back. Is that right?
Yes, please.
And Ms. Ream, I've read your answer, and it's sort of like one from column A, one from column B. You have the following defenses, according to what I read. Number one, it wasn't an engagement ring because you never said yes.
Yes.
If you don't buy that, it was an engagement ring, but he told you should keep it even if you didn't get married, correct?
Yes.
And number three, in case you don't buy those two, it was an engagement ring. There was no deal for me to keep it. I would have given it back, but it got stolen.
Yes, ma'am.
So you don't have it anymore.
No, ma'am.
Is that right? When did you give her the ring?
I think it was May of 2001.
And how long had you known her?
I met her in November. I knew her approximately 6 months and gave her the ring.
Okay, what kind of a ring was it?
It was an engagement ring.
Can I see the receipt for it?
I have the receipt. Plus, Your Honor, at the time, I had just moved, and I didn't have the receipt for the second half of the ring, but I've found that, and I've got that. So here are those two receipts.
What do you mean the second half of the ring?
You know, the band that goes, connects as one.
Oh, you mean the wedding bands?
Yeah,
like
yes.
set.
Yes, ma'am, yes. And that's the other half that I still have, which does mean no good.
Okay, where is this? Did you give her both of these rings?
No.
You have one?
I have one, yes.
Okay, so it's $969.75.
Yes, Judge, yes.
Okay. So you gave it to her in May, and you broke up when?
Around July, things started falling apart.
July of?
2001.
2001. When did you ask for the ring back?
Around August, I believe, the end of July.
What'd she tell you?
She agreed. We both agreed that it wasn't going to work out, and I went to pick up the ring. She had told me that she let some carpet cleaning people into her house, and she was afraid to be alone with these men. So she left, and when I got there, she went to get the ring. It was gone. It's funny because there was lots of jewelry, diamonds, everything, but they only took mine, my little ring, and I couldn't understand that. That didn't make sense to me.
Okay, just a second. So you broke up in July, and it was a month later that you went over to get the ring.
Correct.
But you had asked for it when?
Probably at the end of July.
Okay, and she said come over in August.
Yes. Well, she kept saying it might work, I hope it works, it might work, it may not work. So we tried, and it wasn't going anywhere.
Okay. Now I'll hear you.
Like it said, I lost my husband prior to that, and I was very vulnerable. And
I'm not interested in that.
Okay,
I mean, not that I'm insensitive, madam. It has nothing to do with the ring.
But, okay, well, we started dating, and I told him I wasn't ready to get married. And he got pushy about the ring. And then he asked me to marry him in May, and I told him I wasn't ready. And then he said, keep it as a gift. And think about it.
All right, let's just say nothing. Say nothing. I don't believe that. Go to the next defense.
Okay, I put it into my jewelry box for safekeeping. And so then, like he said, I had the cleaners come. I had to go pick up my daughter from school. It should have only taken 15 to 20 minutes. And so I went to pick her up, came back, and there was some coins and a little bit of jewelry missing and the ring. And he made me call the police, and we made a police report. It's right here. And it couldn't be an engagement ring because he dated other women. He verbally abused me. He verbally abused my daughter.
I'm not interested.
Okay. But it just was an engagement ring.
Sure, it was an engagement ring. It was an engagement ring because he bought not only the ring, he bought the wedding band.
I told him I wasn't ready to get married. He told me to keep it.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You owe him $975. Let me explain something to you. If you have a ring, and if you break up with him, and if you're not going to see him anymore, you give him back the ring. Case closed.
I tried to.
Case closed. In July, you don't hold on to it and put it in a box for safekeeping. That is, if in fact you put it in a box for safekeeping and you didn't go sell it someplace, which I think you probably did, or you still have it and maybe you're going to give it to your daughter or somebody else. In the meantime, if it doesn't work out, why should he feel as if you've taken advantage of him? Why?
It was the other way. He told me he needed money for tires. Constantly always after me for money. All the time. That's what this is all about. He just told me he's going to take me to court to get tires because he needs new tires and because he just bought another house.
Listen to me very carefully, madam.
He's taken advantage of me from the very beginning.
Then how old are you?
I'm 38, but I'm very well put together. At the time I wasn't. I was distraught.
Listen to me. You don't look like the kind of person that anybody takes advantage of.
I just lost my husband and my mom got diagnosed with cancer, and he knew this.
Listen to me. Listen to me. If you were grieving over your husband, you don't take a ring from somebody else.
I know that. I know that now.
But you did. But you did.
Made a
and
mistake.
by taking a ring from somebody, what you're really saying is, I'm interested. I'm interested. That's leading somebody on. That's cruel. That's unkind. And in my judgment, after listening to both of these stories and hearing your three defenses, A, I didn't say yes. B, if I said yes, he told me to keep it anyway, even if we broke up. And C, it got stolen. I don't believe you. After he came over and looked for the ring, you said, I'm sorry, my other stuff is here, but your ring is gone. He said, well, file a police report, which is what you did, correct? Anywhere in the police report did it say that there was evidence of a burglary?
Yes.
Well, show me. Show me where. No, read it where it says there was evidence of burglary.
Right here on the top. It says crime, burglary.
Show me where the police wrote down that there was evidence of a burglary, not what you claimed there was.
It doesn't say burglary, but it says she opened the top drawer and discovered her ring missing.
Right, that's what you said. That's not what the...
That's what he said.
No,
he also did this police report with me.
Miss Reed, I mean, are you just thick? He comes over to get his ring. You go in with him to your drawer. You open the drawer with him. You say, oh, your ring must have been taken, along with some other coins that I might have there. That's too bad. Then you go and file a police report because he says, according to you, that you should go and file a police report, which is what you did. That doesn't mean the police found any evidence of a burglary because there was no burglary. You have insurance, by the way?
Whatever.
You have insurance on your other jewelry?
No, I don't.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of the ring, which was $969.75. Ms. Ream, I don't believe you. Goodbye.
You don't
Thank you, Your Honor.
Party's not excused. You may step out.
He was always telling me to buy him things and stuff like that and saying, well, you got money, you got money.
I own 2 homes, and she told me to sell my homes and give her all my money.
He sues everybody. This is not his first time he sued somebody. He's sue happy.
She used to call me on the phone and threaten me and tell me if I go to court, I'll be sorry.
He's a liar, and he took advantage, and he knows it.
Refrigerator technician Philip White is suing his neighbor, electrician Cesar Vargas, for shooting his Rottweiler named Bones. Cesar says Bones was in his front yard threatening his daughter.
Order. All rise. This is case number 192 on the calendar in the matter of White versus Vargas. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats.
Mr. White, according to your complaint, sir, the defendant is a neighbor of yours.
Yes.
And he shot your dog.
Yes, he did.
Shh. The dog survived.
Yes.
And still have the dog, but you had a lot of vet bills.
Right.
And you wanted him also to pay for the psychological damage that was caused to you and your family as a result of this shooting.
Yes.
Where was your dog when he shot the dog?
My dog was in his front yard when he was shot.
And where were you?
I was out of town. I was on vacation.
And who was with the dog at the time that he shot the dog that was in his front yard?
No, when the dog had gotten out of the backyard through the fence.
And what kind of little dog was this?
He's not a little dog. He's a Rottweiler.
A Rottweiler?
Yes.
And the Rottweiler, I mean, I know a little bit about dogs. A Rottweiler weighs several hundred pounds.
Yes.
Right?
Right, 100, yes.
Well, what was your dog doing in his front yard?
I'm not sure what he was doing, but he was just cutting through, I believe, heading back down the street like he does occasionally.
That's outrageous, sir. What is your 100-and-some-odd-pound dog doing out unattended by a member of your family who's able to control the dog? What if somebody's afraid of dogs?
Well, the dog, it's kind of difficult to keep the dog in the yard sometimes, but when the dog does get out there.
Never! It's never too hard to keep a big dog in your own property. In the house, in the yard, fenced in, tied up, or at all times under your control. I read this and it sounded to me as if you're the victim. You're not the victim. Your dog is the victim of your negligence. Is this your wife?
No, it's my neighbor.
Who else lives in your home?
No one.
Just you?
Yes.
When you went out that day, where did you leave your dog?
In the house.
Well, then how'd the dog get out of the house?
Well, I had a carpenter there working on the house who had gone out to get some wood. The dog had come outside to go to the bathroom. He'd carried the wood back into the house and then heard the shots.
This is what your carpenter is telling you.
Yes, this is what I was
But your dog's gotten out before.
Yes, he has.
Right. Well, that's what I gathered. And you're here as a neighbor to tell me it's a sweet, loving, friendly dog that you're not afraid of. Is that right?
Correct.
I don't care. Some little 5-year-old might be afraid of a 150-pound Rottweiler that comes walking up to them, even if it's the friendliest dog in town. So, that being the case, let me get to Mr. Vargas over here. Mr. Vargas, I gather that initially you denied that you shot the dog, but then you said to him, yeah, I shot your dog. Your dog was in my front yard, and my child was out there. Was your child outside?
Yes, she was.
How old is your child?
She's 13.
This your child?
Yes.
You have a picture of the dog?
Yes, I do.
Sure, let me see it. Looks like an absolutely lovely, lovely dog. For you to keep in your house, under your control, not to think it's just such a wonderful dog, everybody's going to love it.
Well, I don't feel it that way. I know the dog looks like it could be, very dangerous, but he's not by any means. As a matter of fact, my neighbors all know the dog very well because, like I said, the dog's kind of he's been raised around humans. He's never been with other dogs. He thinks he's human himself. Everybody comes over, he meets him at the front door to be petted. He's a loving dog. All the neighbors love him, of course. Like I said, he's never had any incident before where he's caused any damage to anyone or even threatened anyone.
Listen, Mr. White, this dog is doing what this dog has been trained to do, which is he's a block dog. He feels as if he has sort of control to go outside if he wants to. People adore him. They may give him a treat. Your neighbor adores him, which is all very nice. But this is a very large animal. This isn't a Chihuahua that can't cause substantial damage. If somebody is walking in a baby carriage and for some reason this dog gets spooked by something, and even if the dog doesn't go over and try to hurt them, they can start running, the baby carriage can tip over, the baby can become injured through no fault of the dog's. Through your fault.
Well,
that's your fault.
But isn't that the reason to have dog pounds and a dog catcher in case your dog does get out, or a dog registry for lost dogs?
What if you think that this dog, because you don't know the dog, all you see is this huge dog on your lawn.
Well, wait a second.
Your daughter is screaming outside. Is that what was happening? Step up. Now you tell me. What happened when you saw the dog?
When I saw the dog, it was barking at me and showing its teeth, like in an angry way.
Were you frightened?
Yes.
Where were you standing?
In my driveway.
And where was the dog?
At the end of the driveway.
And what happened next?
I called my dad's name, and he had gone and get his gun, and he took care of it.
And he shot the dog. Didn't kill it. No.
Right.
That's what pounds are for.
Well, like I said.
Go ahead. I'm listening to you.
Say, I was inside the house. I was looking out our bay window and looked across the street. They were outside.
Who's they?
Caesar, the kids, the whole
Kids?
family. Right.
Yes?
Didn't see the dog. All I seen was him standing at his garage. Two sounds that sounded like a shotgun, but it was getting close to 4th of July, so I thought maybe it was firecrackers. Ran back to the back door and opened up the garage door, and that's when I seen the puffs of smoke coming from his garage. But like I said, I did not know at that point in time the dog had been shot.
Just a minute. So you saw his daughter outside?
Yes, but the dog wasn't barking and they weren't screaming.
Listen, how long have you been neighbors?
3 years.
Have you ever seen the dog out before?
Yes.
Did you ever shoot the dog before?
No.
Did you ever say anything to him about the dog before?
No.
But the dog has been out before.
Right.
And it's true, over the last 3 years, you've not had a problem with him. Is that right?
No, I haven't had a problem at all with him now, except for the fact that a couple weeks prior to this, I'd been riding my motocross bike in some trails there in my neighborhood. While bringing the bike back home, I passed his wife on the sidewalk. She was walking down the sidewalk with a stroller, and she hollered something at me like, slow down. And I went on by her and went on home with the bike. And maybe 20, 30 minutes later, the police showed up at my house and said that they had a report saying that I was riding the bike in their yard. I told them at that time that I wasn't riding the bike in anybody's yard. I'd taken it down the trails and back. And so,
were you going too fast, sir?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't believe so, no. It's allowed.
Why do you think after 3 years of no problem, all of a sudden you would have a problem with them? If I'm a good neighbor and if I'm driving a motorcycle and his wife is walking with a baby in a baby carriage.
Right.
First of all, you don't have a Rottweiler roaming around in a neighborhood where there are babies in baby carriages. Period.
Right.
End of discussion.
My dog doesn't roam the neighborhood.
Yes, your dog gets out and has
right.
gotten
He has
out
broken
before.
out of the fence, like all dogs get out of their fence.
No, sir. You say that that's okay. It's not okay.
Well, I don't agree that it's okay, and I do my best.
It's not okay.
I do my best to keep the dog in the
But
fence.
your best isn't good enough.
Like I said,
Your best, Mr. White, isn't good enough.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you're driving a motorcycle and you pass a woman and she says to you, hey, slow down, and what you said is you just kept on going.
Well, yes.
No, just a minute. That's what you said.
Yes,
oh,
I
yes,
did.
that's what I did. I just kept on going. That to me is rude. Rude!
And later today,
I agreed to loan him the money to keep him out of jail.
Your Honor, I worked on her computer at least 4 times.
So what? You're hustling me, sir.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Philip White says neighbor Caesar Vargas shot his Rottweiler Bones. Caesar says Bones was threatening his daughter.
If you're going out and you have carpenters in your house that you know are going to be taking wood in and taking wood out, and you're not going to be there all day, you take your dog to a kennel. And you say, I want to make sure my dog doesn't get out because it's dangerous for my dog to be out in the street. It could cause a car accident. So I'm going to take my dog to the kennel for the day because I'm not around to supervise this 150-pound dog. That's what you do.
Well, if the man had shot my dog to defend his family, I would have thought that was one thing.
That's what he says he did.
That's what he says he did. And why then he told me that he didn't do it? Why did he deny it?
Because he didn't want to get into an
When the police
argument
asked him
with
why
you.
he shot the dog, he denied it to them also.
Why do you think he shot your dog?
I think he shot my dog because he, out of vindication, or maybe possibly shooting the wrong dog. Like I said, my dog's real fat popular. My dog lived on the
All right,
roof of my
Mr.
house.
White, you ain't going to get it, sir. Listen to me.
I
You know why you're not going to get it? You're not going to get it for two reasons. First of all, if you're driving a motorcycle and you pass a woman who's walking with a baby carriage, and she says to you, hey, slow down.
Right.
And that's your neighbor. And what you said is you just kept on going.
Well, yes.
No, just a minute. That's what you said.
Yes,
oh,
I
yes,
did.
that's what I did. I just kept on going. That to me is rude. Rude! Because you stop the motorcycle and you say to your neighbor, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was going too fast. I'm sorry if I frightened you. That's what you say to a neighbor. You don't say, psh.
Well, obviously, my neighbor and I aren't that close, so I mean,
I don't care whether you're close or not.
My neighbor's there. Tell the police.
What difference is it if it's your neighbor or not? If a woman walking with a baby carriage says to you that you're driving too fast, then you stop and you say, I'm sorry. You seem to think everything you do is okay.
No.
Pay the vet bill. It's your responsibility. And go and say, I'm sorry to your dog. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I was just frightened for my child.
I don't believe the time that the dog was threatening anybody.
I grabbed my shotgun.
The dog avoids people. He's never attacked or done anything that played with children.
I wouldn't aim, and I just shot towards it.
I feel it's very unfair for the dog.
I just hope it doesn't happen again and none of my brothers and sisters get hurt.
Teacher Mary Lee is suing her ex-boyfriend, Willie Green, for a refund on a vacation package. Mary says the tickets were non-transferable.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 317 on the calendar in the matter of Lee versus Green.
Thanks, Bert.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in, Your Honor. You may be seated.
Miss Lee, you purchased a vacation package from the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
And according to your complaint, you could not use the package because it turned out to be non-transferable. You want your money back.
Yes, ma'am.
The defendant has a different story, which I will allow him to tell me briefly. Where did you get this vacation package from?
Girlfriend.
Man, a few words. You got it from another girlfriend.
Another girlfriend, yes, ma'am.
Was the plaintiff a girlfriend of yours or just a friend?
Just a friend.
Now, when this girlfriend gave you the package, were you supposed to accompany her or did she give it to you to go by yourself?
Well, I was supposed to accompany her on the trip, but I decided I didn't want to go.
When had she purchased it for you?
Back in August sometime.
And when did you decide not to use it?
About a week after she gave me the ticket, I decided not to use it.
Why didn't you give it back to her?
She didn't want it back. I just put the ticket up in the closet. She thought I was going to change my mind. She thought I was going to change my mind and go along with her. And I just put the ticket in the closet and just left it there.
So you didn't pay for the ticket?
No, I didn't.
And you didn't tell her right away that you had absolutely no intention of going and you're going to give her back the ticket?
She didn't want the ticket back.
Did you say to her, here's the ticket, I'm not going with you, I'm going to rip it?
She did not want the ticket back.
It's not my question. Did you hand her the ticket and say, I'm not using this ticket?
Miss Young lives in New York City. I live in Richmond, Virginia.
Yes.
We spoke on the phone. I told her I was not going on the trip. She told me to keep the ticket. I probably would change my mind, and I told her I wasn't going to change my mind, and I had the ticket.
How did it come about that you sold the ticket to Miss Lee?
I met Mary. She was in the beauty shop across the street from my house. Someone introduced me to her, and we were talking. A couple of days later, she came over, and she was in my bed, and I was talking on the phone about the ticket to Aruba. And
who were you talking to?
A friend, another young lady on the phone. And she decided that, she said, well, I'll go. So I didn't say anything. I just kept talking. And when I got off the phone, she wanted to know could she purchase a ticket. And I said, yes. She gave me $200 deposit. She gave me a $200 deposit in cash at that moment. She wrote a statement out. I told her if she wasn't here the next day to purchase a ticket with the balance of the money, she would lose her deposit.
You told her that as she was putting on her stockings, sir?
No, they were off.
So you told her, I'm taking your $200. If you're not here by tomorrow with the balance of the money, you're going to forfeit the $200.
Yes.
Then you would have gotten a free ticket that you paid nothing for, plus her $200. That would have been you spending money on your trip.
I wasn't going on the trip.
Boy, he must have something that I don't see. All right, Miss Lee, let's come to you because I'm getting a little nauseous from him. You bought the ticket. You gave him how much?
This was my second date with Mr. Green. Mr. Green's telephone rang. A gentleman called wanting to buy these tickets for $1,000.
Listen to me, Miss Lee. Just answer my question.
Yes, ma'am.
Person of good judgment you are not, because I've listened to him for a total of 5 minutes and I could tell he's not worth very much. Okay? Not a person of good character. So you gave him how much money in total for the ticket?
I gave him a total of $700.
Is that correct, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, so you purchased a ticket and he gave you the ticket. Were you able to use the ticket?
No, ma'am.
Why not?
The ticket was not changed into my name, and I did not have a new reservation number for the resort hotel by the time I got in Aruba. I got stopped in the Richmond International Airport as being a thief of stealing his ticket.
Was this ticket including airfare?
Including airfare,
Okay.
round-trip ticket, and hotel.
Okay. Were you able to use the airfare?
No, ma'am.
So you weren't able to use the airfare, so you couldn't get there?
I couldn't get there.
Let me see the ticket that you have, please. You went there with his ticket?
Because yes, ma'am.
You went there with his ticket?
To the airport, yes, ma'am, on October 7th.
She did never go to the airport. When I tried to have the ticket changed, I needed a social security number and a date of birth to change the ticket. She would never give me a social security number and her date of birth so I can have the ticket changed. And at one point, she was calling me in the middle of the night, cursing, drunk, talking about, I want you to go on a trip with me, then we'll go on a trip. I said, no, I'm not going on a trip, and if you don't give me the social security number and date of birth, there's nothing I can do.
Why didn't you just have her call the travel agent and give them her date of birth?
She wouldn't do it.
Really?
I gave her the telephone number to the travel agent. She wouldn't do it.
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Green. After the night that you sold her this ticket, were you intimate with her again?
No.
Never?
Never.
Yeah.
Is there any reason for that?
When I called her, she didn't want to be bothered.
But you did call her again?
Yeah, quite a few times. And
After she bought the ticket?
I didn't bring the tapes.
Just answer my question.
I did not bring...
You're not answering my question. I'm in charge.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Judge.
Go ahead, Judge.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Mr. Green, after you spent an intimate night, he was sufficiently dissatisfied with your performance so as not to want to see you again. Did that make you angry, sir?
And later today...
You want to speak. I want you to open your mind, start receiving. Don't be sending out. Receive what I'm saying, because it's something that you don't know.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Mary Lee says ex-boyfriend Willie Green owes for the cost of a bogus vacation package. Mary says she bought the tickets from him after their second date.
So, Mr. Green, let me understand this. She came and gave you the money for the ticket after you spent an intimate night and evidently was sufficiently dissatisfied with your performance so as not to want to see you again. Did that make you angry, sir?
No, it doesn't.
Really? I think, Mr. Green, that you are not out any money, sir, because you didn't pay for this ticket. There are 3 people who were involved in this ticket. Let me understand this. There's Miss Lee, who paid $700 to you for the ticket. There's Miss Young, who bought you the ticket, right?
Right.
And paid whatever she paid for the ticket. Let's say she paid $1,000 for the ticket.
Paid $1,400.
Paid $1,400 for the ticket. So she paid $1,400, Miss Young. She paid $700. You paid Zippo, nada, and you get $700. Is that right? That's what you think is going to happen? Wrong. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $700. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
With Mr. Green being a retired police officer, I expect him to have better standards.
She wanted me to go on a trip with her, and I just refused to go on a trip with her.
I just wanted to have a good vacation. I saved up some money, and I wanted Richmond, Virginia. That's all. And he cheated me, and he's a womanizer.
She's a jilted lover.
It's not accurate. He's the womanizer and the jilted lover. He's out to get whatever he can get from anyone.
Carriage operator John Schonk is suing his ex-girlfriend, Charlene Casey, for damage to his property and for the cost of a horse. Charlene is countersuing for lost wages and a stolen carriage.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 99 on the calendar in the matter of Schonk versus Casey. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ma'am, have a seat, please.
Mr. Schonk, you and Miss Casey had a 7-year relationship and lived together for most of that time, I gather. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then you had rather acrimonious breakup, and each of you claim property loss, that the other is holding property that belongs to the other. You claim, in addition, that she filed false police reports about you, indicating that you had assaulted and threatened her, which caused you loss of business and income. So I want you to tell me exactly what it is that you are complaining about, that she owes you.
I have a list here, Your Honor, of the items which were not returned to me. She also threw all my belongings that she did get returned to me in the swimming pool, including books, pictures.
Had you been living together up to that time?
Yes, ma'am, for 7 years.
Okay. And on what date did you leave the house, and under what circumstances?
I believe it was the 6th of May was the date of the restraining order.
Tell me what happened on the 6th of May.
During the day, she was telling me that she was getting a restraining order and having me removed from the property, and I kept telling her that I didn't feel she had a right to a restraining order because I'd been peaceful. She kept on. Well, I got angry, and that night I had a few beers with my friends, and I went to her house. I woke her up quietly. I said, Charlene, we need to talk about this. We need to work this out. She pulled a pillow over her head and yelled at me that tomorrow the police would be escorting me out of there. And I said, how are you going to do that? And she said, well, I'll make something up.
Is that true? Did the police come the next day?
The police did come that evening, I guess. I don't know. I left and had no further dealings with Charlene since.
Okay. Can I see that list of property, please?
I do have police reports, too.
Just a minute. Okay, you got a lot of stuff here from a 7-year relationship that ends with the statement, all you really want is my horse Elvis, that you value at $4,000.
And my picture of my son.
And your picture of your son. Now, where is this horse?
She told the officer that she wasn't giving me the horse.
Whose horse is it?
Mine.
It was my horse, Your Honor.
My horse.
Just a second.
Sorry.
Tell me when you got the horse.
Your Honor, this horse here is Rowdy. I purchased him early on in the carriage business, and
you and the defendant had started a carriage horse business.
Right.
Okay. And you took people around in rides for
Yes,
events?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And did weddings and other types of events. I purchased this horse here, and he was really good for the business, but he really hated for people to pet him, that strangers. So we kept looking for another horse. We found another horse. Charlene purchased the other horse, sold this horse, and put the money from this horse into her account to replace the other horse.
Well, how much was Rowdy?
Elvis cost $1,800, and we sold Rowdy for $2,000.
And you were in business at that time with the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
That you both worked in?
Yes, ma'am. I have the franchise agreement here showing that we were partners in the business.
Let me just see that, please. And what about your son's wall picture? Do you have that, Ms. Casey?
Yeah, I have that. He can have that back.
Fine.
We also had purchased a trailer together, which I have proof of that here also.
It's also a lie.
Did you do any other work, Mr. Schonk, in the time that you were running this carriage business?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Did you do any other work at the time you were running this carriage business?
I had 2 jobs.
Okay. Now, where's the horse?
The horse is, okay, I bought the horse.
Just I asked your question. Where's the horse?
The horse has been traded for another carriage.
What'd you do with the money that you got from the Rowdy horse?
That went back into the business.
Fine. I mean, you entered into a business arrangement with him. Sure you did.
I have my sole proprietorship of my business.
What was he doing there? Were you paying him a salary?
He was keeping all the money he made himself. Every
Were you
money
paying
he made,
him a salary?
No.
Okay.
Yes, he was making money off the weddings we did, but as we did downtown work, the money we made nightly, he pocketed in his money. I put mine in my business account. He took his and put it in his pocket. I didn't get none of that money. None of it.
Well, you must have shared expenses in the house.
I paid my bills. He bought horse feed and hay on occasion.
All right.
Okay?
Listen to me. This is very difficult. When people live together and aren't married, it's complicated enough. And then when you enter into a business that each of you work in, it makes it even more difficult. You paid $1,800 for this horse, Elvis. Is that right?
Out of my money.
Stop.
My personal.
You paid $1,800 for this horse, Elvis. You got some money for Rowdy. Rowdy went into the business account.
Right.
Fine. All right. $900 in his picture. Okay. What other property, sir?
This trailer, Your Honor. We bought this trailer together, and she sold the trailer also.
When?
Since 16th of April.
So? You were still living together?
According to the paperwork here, it was supposed to be in both of our names, and I don't know how she sold it without my signature on the title.
Let me see.
I have the title.
Let me see.
Registration. Can I say something?
In a minute. Well, it's registered in the name of Charlene Casey or John Shank.
On the top line there where I circled, Your Honor, it says if this box is not checked, it's assumed as and.
It says or.
On the application for title,
I don't care what the application is. This is what the title says.
Okay.
Title says or. How much did you sell the trailer for?
$1.
Prove it.
Well, I sold it to my daughter. I didn't have her sign anything, but I have a promissory note where I borrowed money to buy that trailer, and I paid it in full.
Let me see.
He paid no money towards the trailer, Your Honor. I paid it all. I sold another horse trailer to buy that horse trailer,
And what'd you put it in his name for, too?
I don't know why.
I don't know either.
I don't even know.
I don't know either.
Being nice.
Now you got to pay for it.
Can I show you my other evidence?
Just a second.
Please? Okay.
Listen to me.
All right.
You did it. No court is going to go back 2 years, 3 years, 4 years to figure out what was going through your mind when you put this in both names. You put it in both names. Do you understand?
Yes, and I know why I did.
I don't know why you did. You wanted to be nice because you were living with him as a family and you were going into business with him. And it was supposed to be a business that you were going to work up, make a living from, whatever. So you can't sell the trailer to your daughter for $1 because that's a lot of who shot John. Don't play with me, madam. Don't play with me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
When he threw the phones across the room, I jumped out of bed and grabbed the phones and dialed 911 and stuck it underneath the sheets. He told me that he was going to rape me, and then I clicked off the phone, but she heard him say he was going to F me up.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Shank says ex-girlfriend Charlene Casey threw his belongings into the swimming pool. Charlene says John stole her horse carriage.
What's next, sir? Anything else?
She made false report to Crime Stoppers accusing me of stealing the carriage. This is the original carriage that started the business, and she led them to believe that it was a random burglary that...
Did you take one of the carriages, sir?
I took 2 of them, Your Honor.
2?
Yes, ma'am.
Where are they?
I have them both.
You do?
Yes, ma'am.
How much do they cost when they were purchased?
One of them was $4,200, I believe, and the other one was $2,500. There was a lot of other equipment in the business also, Your Honor.
I'm not getting into fax machines,
Right.
photo machines, telephones. I'm getting. No. So you have these 2 carriages?
Yes, ma'am.
And you sold the horse trailer to your daughter for $1. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
That's a wash to me. You keep the carriages. You keep the carriage. You have no horse. You have a horse. You have a horse, and no carriage. You have carriages and no horse. Sounds to me perfect.
I have the receipts. I paid for them carriages on my own money, on my personal account.
Listen to me. You don't have a personal account.
Yes,
you
I
go
do.
into business with him.
Can you look at my evidence, please?
Oh, sure. I'm going to look at your evidence, but you don't seem to get the drill. You can do whatever you like with paperwork, and you can sell something that you believed might be a joint piece of property to your daughter for $1. But that doesn't mean when you come into court, I have to buy it.
Right.
You lived together with this man for 7 years. You started a business.
Off
He
and on.
worked the business. You worked the business. He worked outside. You worked inside. You bought things that you needed for the business. And now you're separated. Now you say, here's all this junk. You figure it out. But you say, I'm going to protect myself the best way I can. I'm going to sell this piece of property to my daughter for $1. You say, I'm taking the carriages, so at least I have something. That may be all you're left with, except the $900 for Elvis and your picture. Now I'll hear you.
Okay, ma'am. I did not file a false accusation. Here's my 911 transcript that when he attacked me and held me against my will, tried to rape me, tried to strangle me. I had marks on my neck. Here's my pictures.
Shh. He was yelling at you.
More than that.
That's all it says.
Well, this is because when he threw the phones across the room, I jumped out of bed and grabbed the phones and dialed 911 and stuck it underneath the sheets. So when he came running back in the room, it
says he was yelling at you.
The 911 officer heard him yelling at me, and then I clicked off the phone, but she heard him say he was going to F me up. And also when he was attacking me, he told me that he was going to rape me.
Doesn't say that here.
Because I didn't have 911 phone call on at that time. This is when he first attacked me.
Yeah.
And here's my pictures of the mark he put on my neck, how he busted in my room. And I tried to call for my son for help. I tried to get my arm to raise the window up to call for my son for help. He hurt my arm. That's why he left, because I had 911 on the other line, and he ran out the back door, and then the police came, and I went that day and got my injunction.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Shaw claims ex-girlfriend Charlene Casey damaged his property by throwing it in the swimming pool. John says she also owes for the cost of a horse.
When you went out to do weddings, who drove the carriages?
We both did.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that. You both drove the carriages?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
For the first year or more, we only owned one carriage, Your
And
Honor.
at that time, we took turns. He would take a ride, I would take a ride. And then when I got my father's inheritance money, I went and I bought the other 2 carriages. I bought 3 horses, and I bought driving lines. I bought $1,500 worth of harnesses.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Mr. Shank, your sole source of income was from these carriage horses?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you have any other source of income?
When we originally started the carriage business, I had a full-time job for the first 2 to 3.
Did you have any savings?
No, ma'am.
So it is a fair statement that Miss Casey makes when she tells me that she, in fact, invested the vast majority of the money for the property that formed the business.
Yes, ma'am.
Then how can you claim that you own these carriages that you took?
I originally bought the first carriage. I started the business.
No, you originally bought one carriage?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
And horse and harness.
Just a second. With what is my question?
With what? I was working a full-time job at the time, and I sold my horse.
Which horse?
I had a horse before the carriage. We had horses all along.
I see. So how much did you put in when you started the business?
When we started the business, the first carriage was, I believe, $2,500. I'm not exactly sure of the price, but
okay.
It's right in that neighborhood.
And where is that carriage now?
The first horse was $2,000.
Where is that carriage now?
I have that carriage.
How many carriages do you have altogether?
I have 2.
So the other carriage belongs to her?
And
yes,
half
ma'am.
of the other one belongs to me, too.
The other carriage belongs to her?
One carriage belongs to her. And
so why didn't you give it back to her?
Well, this was another carriage, the third carriage that we owned. She changed the locks on the storage unit, didn't allow me to work at all.
After I got my injunction. Okay, I'm sorry.
And I had nothing. She had my horse, she had all my belongings, everything, and I just took whatever I could take.
All right, we have to give her back that carriage. Now, is there any way of identifying that carriage from the other carriage?
Yes.
How?
It's white with red velvet seats. It was made in Canada, and it has a stamp on the back.
Your Honor, this carriage was given to me as a gift right here, and she has it at her house.
That one goes back to her in 5 days. The one that she's just described, and I will prepare the order. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you understand?
Yes.
Now, do you have one that belongs to him at your house? What is the one he's talking about?
I have no idea. I never.
She bought this maroon carriage and gave it to me as a gift. She
That's
said,
a lie.
"This is your carriage. The
That's
white
a
one
lie.
that I'm buying is mine."
Forget it!
Okay.
Now, you get $900, and you get the picture of your son. you will return to her within 5 days the carriage. And I'm not satisfied that there was not an incident in the room after examining the photographs. I think that you had a couple too many beers, Mr. Shank. Now,
I agree.
Your countersuit is for lost wages and future income.
Right.
Forget it. You want the return and value of personal property. So you're getting
Right.
back one of your carriages.
And my harnesses.
How many harnesses do you have?
I have 2 harnesses. Your
One
Honor.
goes to her, one goes to you. Anything else?
Okay, this is a receipt that I paid $1,273 of the carriage that he says that he paid for.
Listen to me.
And this is my...
I've given you absolutely more time than anybody else
Here it
would
is.
give you with regard to this. With
my
regard to
draft
this
horse
stuff.
harness right here.
Just listen to me
Okay.
carefully. It is absolutely impossible without experts who can value a business, who can value what everything is worth now, 2 years later, 3 years later from when you purchased them, to make a judgment. This is not a marriage. Now, if you've been married, something else. Then you get somebody who will value all of your joint and single property and say, we're going to divide it in half, you take half, because it's all marital property. You have some receipts. You paid for some stuff. He paid with his time and working in the business. You now have horses and carriages. You now have a carriage. Uno.
Ma'am.
One carriage. Quiet. One carriage. You have no horse. Is that right?
No, ma'am.
Maybe you want to buy one.
He stole everything. I had
She
no
has
way
2
to go to
carriages
work.
right now also.
Sir, ma'am.
And a hay wagon.
I had no way to go to work. I have 2 minor children at home. He stole every way I had to make a living. He stole the tool that was to fix the other carriage. So
You
3
spent
weeks.
7 years of your life with him.
No. The business was in my name only. I have my occupational license for the past 3 years. It's in my name only.
My question is, so you're saying he was a paid employee?
He was an employee.
Did you pay taxes for him as an employee?
No.
Goodbye.
I tried to get him to pay taxes. I tried to get him to pay
Goodbye.
his taxes. He wouldn't pay them.
No. Listen to me. My question is, he may not have paid them. Did you file?
I tried
pay
to
his.
get him to
Listen
go.
to me. Did you pay his Social Security? Did you give him a W-2 or a 1099?
I tried
whatever
to
you
get him to do
No,
it.
no, no. Listen to me, madam. Come over here, sir. Don't walk out on me. Put your
sorry.
back on me. I walk out on you.
Okay.
Did you 1099 him at the end of the year that this is what he earned? The answer is no.
No, because I asked
No,
him
no,
to
no.
go with me, and he would not go.
He doesn't have to go anywhere with you, madam. All you have to do is 1099 him, send it into the federal government. Did you pay his Social Security?
He would not
The
go
answer, he doesn't have to go anywhere. Did you pay his Social Security?
I didn't know how
The
much he
answer-
made. He would not tell me how much he made. He stuck it all in his pocket.
I'm not sure.
Madam,
I never knew.
He was a partner in your business.
But
That's
he-
the way you set it up. It may
He
have
never
been in
told
your
me how
name.
much he made.
Say goodbye to him and to me.
Goodbye.
Parties are excused.
He never
You may
told
step
me.
out.
Oh, that's much.
I was just basically drummed right out of my own life.
Don't go into a partnership with a man unless you're married with him.
Guys, look out for a woman like that. Ricky, she's all yours.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Boncheva versus Lowhorn. Step forward, please.
17-year-old Petya Boncheva is suing 23-year-old welder Larry Lowhorn for keying Petya's car. Larry is denying the charge.
All right, this is not going to take long, Bird. Don't get too comfortable. According to your complaint, you knew the defendant. Whether you liked him or he liked you, I quite frankly don't care whether you were friends or not, but according to your complaint, you were at somebody else's house. You walked into the house, he's sitting there with his shoes off, and you commented that he had dirty socks, which irritated him. The next thing you knew, you went outside, so you saw that somebody had keyed your car. And you say it was the defendant. He says, you did comment about his dirty socks, but he didn't key your car. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
I probably think you keyed her car. Just watching you, watching your body language. I'm really smart when it comes to that. I think you did do that, but see what I mean?
Yes.
But it's up to her to prove it to me. And you have no witnesses, is that right?
No.
Nobody saw him do it?
No.
He didn't admit that he did it?
No.
So what do you want me to do?
Well, he actually did say that he was going to do something to my car. And the night
Actually,
that...
Your Honor?
Don't speak until I speak to you.
Yes.
The night that he keyed my car, We were over at my friend Keith's house.
Don't give me the whole story. I want to know. He said he was going to key your car. When did he say he was going to do something
After I made a comment about his socks, telling him that his socks were dirty, he looked at me and he said, well, you really shouldn't make comments to people that know what kind of car you drive. So I said, you don't even know what kind of car I drive. And he reminded me how we met and the night he'd seen my car. So I was like, okay, you know, he knows my car. Then right after he made a comment, he said, well, you better watch out now. Watch what happens to you now.
So you have pretty good reason to think that it was him, right?
Yeah.
But you understand that in court you have to have proof.
Yeah, well, actually, we did call, I did call the Clinton Township Police Department. We did make a report about it. I was in there for not more than a half an hour. And after he made a comment, he went outside for 5 minutes and, you know, he came back, he just looked at me and smiled. So my friend Keith said, well, let's go look at your car. You know, maybe he did do something to it. So me and him walked outside and seen my car was keyed. Right after he was out there for 5 minutes, came back and, you know, we went outside. So
what did the police tell you when you reported it?
They told me to make a report about it, take him to court because...
They couldn't do anything about it because you had no witnesses. They couldn't arrest him.
No.
Now you want to say something?
Yes, I do, Your Honor. What she's failing to mention at first is that she was kind of upset with me in the beginning before all this even started because, like, when we initially met...
I don't care!
Okay.
Get to her car!
Okay, when I got to the apartment and she started saying this stuff to me...
about your dirty socks
yes.
and about your hygiene.
Yes, I kind of got aggravated, so I kind of went outside. My witness, Sam, and another girl were outside. They were talking. I went out there to use the phone because we had gotten the argument. I called my girlfriend to come pick me up because I didn't want to sit here and argue with a 16-year-old about something as petty as, like, dirty socks. So I called him. We came up back to... Sam came up first, and I came up later with Laura.
Sir,
actually,
Mr.
lying,
Lawhorn, I don't want to hear you. I want to hear you.
Okay.
Unless you're going to tell me, Judge, I'm going to fess up. Either I keyed her car, or my friend keyed her car, or I saw somebody key her car. I don't want to hear all your other nonsense. Do you understand?
Yes.
Did you key her car?
No, Your Honor.
Do you know who did?
I have no idea.
You have no idea?
No.
Right. You have no proof that he keyed your car. You have no witnesses. He didn't make a confession. Do you understand? I can't find that he keyed your car. He might have, or he might have, or somebody else that was outside might have. He may have given them the key to key your car. You have no proof.
But he said he was going to do something to my car. So, and I was in there for not more than a half an hour, and we walked outside as soon as she came in, and my car was keyed. No, Sam was not outside with him when he went outside. Neither was Laura. They were all in the apartment with us.
Well, they weren't.
They were all in there. So he went outside alone.
You have no proof that he keyed your car. Not sufficient in court, anyway. Not sufficient for the police to arrest him for vandalism, and not sufficient for me to be able to charge him for fixing your car. He might have done it. Probably did, based upon his body English, but I can't make a judgment based upon that. So unfortunately, I have to dismiss your case. That's all.
Please excuse me, step out.
He did say he was going to do something to my car 5 minutes before I walked outside and it was keyed.
It's a bad area, so, I mean, anyone could have done it.
Right here, it's all keyed up, both sides of the car.
There was no evidence. She didn't see me do it, so I think she made a good judgment.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Kine versus Cameron. Step forward, please.
19-year-old telemarketer Janae Kine is suing her ex-boyfriend, 24-year-old landscaper Wade Cameron, for crashing her car by pulling the emergency brake while she was driving.
Ms. Kine, according to your complaint, you were driving the defendant's car home from some sort of an event because he was intoxicated and couldn't drive. You got into an accident, you caused a great deal of damage to another car, and you were ordered to pay restitution, and you believe that the defendant should pay that restitution because it was his fault, because he pulled the emergency brake.
Correct.
Which caused you to skid out of control and hit the other car.
Mm-hmm.
The defendant says he did in fact pull the emergency brake, but he pulled it because you were driving erratically. That's your defense.
Yes.
How do you know each other?
We're dating.
How old are you?
19.
And you?
24.
What was the date of the accident?
January 3rd, 2002.
Where were you coming from?
We were coming home from a party that night.
Had you gone together?
Yes.
Just the two of you?
No, there was 3 other people with us in the car.
Were the other 3 people in the back of the car intoxicated?
Yes.
But you were not?
I was not.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janae Kime says ex-boyfriend Wade Cameron caused her car to crash when he abruptly pulled the emergency brake.
Okay. Now, tell me about the accident.
I was driving his car home from the party. Everything was all right. We were like 2 houses down from his house, and then all of a sudden he pulls up the emergency brake, and the car that I'm driving slides into this parked car, and the owners of the car were sitting in the car at that time. And so I pulled the car around the block and parked it at his house, and then we all went down to make sure that everything was okay. And I was in shock when this all happened at the time, you know, because it was such like a dramatic experience that I went through, and it brought back memories of...
Don't give me your memories. I'm not interested in your memories.
Okay.
So you went back to see if everybody was okay?
Right, and Wade had told me at the time that he had insurance on his car, so I figured everything was taken care of. I was in shock, so I left. And
you left before the police arrived?
Right. And I called him the next day, and I asked him what was going on. He gave me the number of the officer in Boulder that was handling the case. So I called her and let her know that I was driving the car, and then a couple days after that, I went up there. She wrote me a ticket, and then I went to court after that.
How did you contact the police, sir?
How did I contact the police? They contacted me.
You did. When?
The following day, or that evening.
So what did you tell them that evening?
I told them basically we were coming back from the party, and they were assuming that I was driving, but I wasn't, and because the person that was driving left the scene of the crime, so they were trying to direct it towards me. But I told them what happened, and that she had taken off, and they wanted a description of her and everything, and then that once that I'd gotten contact with her, to have her contact them.
Let me see the police report. Did you first tell the police that somebody else was driving the car, sir?
They were asking who it was, and I was describing who it was, and I didn't exactly say what she'd look like.
Who's Tamara?
I was a made-up person.
So you lied to the police?
Well, I didn't know her name exactly at the time. Like,
you didn't know whose name?
Well, I was drunk, so I was just mumbling out words.
Hey, don't try to get over on me. I'm smarter than you'll ever be in your whole life. Bird, do you have a piece of paper there?
I do.
Good. I want you to give her a piece of paper and give him a piece of paper, and I want each of them to write down, prior to today, when the last time was that each of these people saw each other, spent any time with each other. Do you understand my question? Prior to today.
Okay.
You need a pen? You need an extra pen? I want them to do it independently.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Look over here, sir. Eyes front. Write down the date.
The exact...
Write down the date that each of you remembers that you spent any time together prior to today's date. I'll take them. Thank you.
His, hers, yours.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, very good. Now, what did you have to pay restitution for, by the way?
I had to pay restitution for $6,839 for the whole damage to the car that I hit.
Because he didn't have insurance?
Right, and yet he told me he did.
When did he tell you he did?
He told me he did that night before I was going to drive his car, because I was planning on driving them home anyways. And I was like, you have insurance, right? He's like, yes, I
Oh,
do.
sure, you asked him, do you have insurance? Oh, do I
No,
believe that?
I really did.
Do I believe that?
I really
Sure, I do believe that. You said to him, I'll drive your car because you're drunk. By the way, do you have insurance? I want to tell you something. I think that all of you people got together and made up a very good story. That's what I think. It's not going to wash with me. I don't believe he pulled the emergency brake. I believe the car spun out of control. Did you have a driver's license?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
Good. After this whole thing happened, did he accept full responsibility?
We had had conversations, about this happening, and he promised that he would pay me $200 a month for all the restitution bills because I have to pay $200 a month for the next 4 years for this car that he wrecked.
How much longer did you date after this incident?
We didn't date at all after this. The only time that we saw each other was just to converse about this, about the case, and about what was happening.
Where were you?
It had been maybe at his house a couple times when I go up there.
At his house a couple of times?
Yeah, when I would go up there to go try to get the money because I couldn't get a hold of him because he was avoiding my calls.
Okay. And when was the last time you saw him to ask him for money?
Last time that I saw him was a couple months ago. The last time I asked him for money was a couple weeks ago before I probably about 3 weeks ago before I went and filed the case in Boulder.
And where were you when you asked him for the money?
I was at my house on the phone the last time.
When was the last time you saw him?
The last time that I saw him was...
At his house, at your house?
At his house?
Coffee, something?
No, I just asked him for money. It was probably about 2 months ago.
And when was the last time you say you saw her?
Last time I saw her was when we went to court for that.
Which was when?
When, I don't know the exact date of when that court date was, but we had the same court date, so that's the last time I saw her.
Uh-huh. And did you tell the judge in court that you had pulled, that this was all your fault?
Basically just to get it was already on the court.
I'm asking you a question.
Yes.
Did you tell the judge in court that the accident was all your fault? The answer is yes or no.
Yes.
What did the judge say to you?
That was it.
Were you ordered to pay any fine?
No.
Any restitution?
No.
Interesting. Well, one of you say that the last time you saw each other was February 28th. One of you says that the last time you saw each other was January 10th. It's interesting, isn't it?
So
Isn't it?
Very interesting.
Case is dismissed. That's
Parties
all.
are excused. You may step out.
That's all.
Felt that she was about to wreck the car, and I wanted to stop the car so that we wouldn't wreck, and actually we ended up wrecking anyway.
Sometimes it doesn't really pay to be a good person because obviously things don't come out of it, right?
Sure, she might have been the designated driver, but maybe she's a little crazy that night.
23-year-old student Michelle Mergner is suing fellow partygoer, 22-year-old cage fighter Drew Fickett for hitting golf balls off the roof of her car. Drew says Michelle is infatuated with him.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 295 on the calendar in the matter of Mergner versus Fickett. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Miss Mergner, you were at a party, and it is your claim that the defendant, while acting like a complete imbecile, started to hit golf balls off the hood of your car because somebody had said something to him that offended him.
Mm-hmm.
And he caused over $2,000 worth of damage to the roof of your car. Mr. Fickett says he did no such thing, and the only reason that you're suing him is probably because you were in some way infatuated with him, as all women are. And when you found out that he had a girlfriend, you probably got angry, or something like that, right?
Something like that, Your Honor, yes.
Did you know him before this
No.
party?
No, I don't.
Who saw him on top of the car?
My witness, Joe Moore.
And I have the witness up here. Tell me your name, sir.
Joe Moore.
Mr. Moore, on what date was this party?
May 20-something. I'm not sure the exact date.
Where was it?
Tucson, Arizona, Grant and Silver Barrel.
At a friend's house.
Yes, ma'am.
What's the name of the friend?
Sean.
Don't look like a deer in headlights, sir. I'm not going to
Sure.
attack you. I'm just asking you some preliminary questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, how many people were at this party?
30 at the most.
There were a lot more than 30.
And was, don't speak until I speak to you. Was the defendant one of those people?
Yes, ma'am.
The plaintiff says that you actually observed the defendant doing something in or around or on her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me what you saw.
I saw the defendant standing on top of the car and kind of give a little jump as to indent the roof of the car.
This is ridiculous, Your Honor. He has nothing to go on this.
I don't want you to speak. What word didn't you understand when I said it nicely before?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead.
I saw him do that and then proceed to like drop a golf ball and take the club and just start hitting a couple of golf balls after.
And then what did you do?
I turned around and I walked back in the house. I found my friend Shane, and I said, there's some guy outside jumping up and down on somebody's car, hitting golf balls off the top of the car with your golf clubs. So you might want to call the cops. You might want to come out here and check this out. And then
The police arrive?
No, ma'am. The police never arrived that night.
Who told you that something had happened to your car? Or did anybody?
Not until after the fact. He had already left. He basically wrecked the party. And my boyfriend had just graduated. It was his graduation party from the University of Arizona. So he decides to show up wearing an Arizona State hat. And
I don't care about that. I read that somebody was wearing the wrong kind of, he was wearing
Yes,
the wrong kind of
that's what
hat. Somebody
started
called him a jerk.
This is silly, Your Honor. This is what it's all about.
You're the...
Shh. Listen to me. When did you actually see the damage to your car?
Not until after he left, probably 2 in the morning.
Exactly.
Let me see the estimate for the damage.
This is the estimate.
Mr. Fickett, 2 times I've told you not to speak until I get to your side, which I believe I have assured you that...
I'm just shocked to hear all this. This is so ridiculous. Like, I can't believe she's like actually saying this. She has nothing to go on, no proof.
My mouth is running. When my mouth is running, yours doesn't run.
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm going to say it one more time, and I'm going to try to say it as tastefully and with as much judicial temperament as I can muster. Keep your mouth shut until I talk to you. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
You have pictures of the car?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it.
Looks like hail damage, Your Honor.
I assume what I'm looking at in some of these pictures are a footprint.
Yes. His footprints were all over.
Okay, now I'll hear you, Mr. Fickett.
All right, I went to this party. The only reason I went to this party was because my friend Nick, who wrestles at ASU, was visiting. And we went to the party, me and my girlfriend Kim here, went to the party just to hang out with him. We were having a casual discussion outside, me and my friend Nick. And from what she tells me, there were like a group of girls, maybe her friends, maybe someone didn't like her, maybe someone didn't like me. I don't know for what reason. There were a group of girls, like, just whispering and gossiping, like in the corner. She knows more about that than me. I was just hanging out. We were there maybe for an hour, hour and a half. It was graduation night at U of A. There were like 3 parties on the street. I wasn't even drinking. I mean, they were probably drunk as all hell being graduation. The reason I wasn't drinking was because I had a wrestling match the next morning. I fight professionally, and I'm known to be like rumored about to be like this big tough guy that causes all this trouble. And it's just a reputation that beholds me that isn't true. And this is just another jealous person or angry person that just wants to blame stuff on me, either because her car is really damaged, I don't know, or maybe she has something against me or my girlfriend.
She doesn't have anything against you.
Well, she has something against me if she wants to make this stuff up and bring me to court for
Mr.
it.
Fickett. Pay careful attention to me, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
She doesn't have anything against you. She doesn't have anything against your girlfriend. She didn't see you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell the police she saw you do any damage to her car. She didn't tell me that she saw you do any damage to her car. He saw you do damage to her car. He doesn't want to date you. We don't want to blame the wrong person, do we?
No, ma'am.
You want to blame somebody. You blame Mr. Moore. Maybe he's jealous of you.
Any which way, she's coming up with a false witness
No.
to come up with her case.
No. She goes outside and she finds that her car has been damaged. She says, who damaged my car?
Well, if it was so urgent,
He
why
says-
weren't the cops there that night? Why didn't she call the cops that night? Why is my name not in the police report? I mean,
Just a second. They did call the police. But from what you tell me, sir, it was graduation night. The police were probably very, very busy and not swift to respond to some fool standing on top of a car hitting golf balls off somebody's roof. They had other things to worry about, so they didn't show up.
I arrived
but
at the
it is clear
party.
to me that somebody was on the hood of this car. It is clear to me that somebody took a flying leap while they were on this car. And what I would try to figure out, Mr. Fickett, is why Mr. Moore would lie to me about having seen you do that. Did you have any prior relationship with him? Did you have any
I don't know
prior
these
problem
people.
with
I was
him?
at the party because of a friend of a friend.
Okay. So you don't. Just a second. So you don't know him. Is that right? You don't know him at all.
No.
Why in the world would somebody make up a story like that about you?
Because this petty girl's crying about someone damaging her car, and they need someone to blame.
So they blamed you.
I guess. Maybe they
You
don't
wanna
like
tell
Arizona
me
State. It's
something?
me.
Step up, young lady.
I
Tell
was
me your
there.
name.
My name's Kim.
Okay, Kim.
And I was there with him the whole night. The this is kind of almost funny to us. When you pull into the street, when we first pulled into the street of where the party was going on, we had no idea where it was because, like he said, there was three parties. I mean, it's a big street. We had to park like 2 streets down. There was tons of cars, tons of people walking around all over the place.
Get to the point.
Anybody could have done this. When he stands up here and gives like an oath, like, I'm sorry, but my dad's a minister. I don't know if you're religious, but that's like not cool. You don't stand up here, because I was with him the whole night. The whole night. I stayed with him. I sat outside. Excuse me, I'm talking. I sat outside. I was talking to, I seen a girlfriend of mine that I used to work with. He's talking to Nick. I'm talking to my girlfriend. An hour later, I go, I got a sociology class in the morning. You got a wrestling tournament. We better go. We hopped in the car. We said goodbye to everybody, and we left. The only person that we knew there was Nick and this girl that I had just seen there. And, you know, I mean, there was so many people there, and there was so many parties going on at any time that I just can't comprehend how this guy is saying this. I was with him the whole night. I was by his side. I walked in the house at one point to go to the bathroom, and when he says 30 people, 70, if not more, when I walked in.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Lovely young lady. Well, I have to make a judgment as to why Mr. Moore here would make up a story about having seen you cause the damage to the plaintiff's car. Now, I can understand why your girlfriend would tell me that you were together all evening, which isn't even true according to her, because she did go inside for a while to go to the bathroom. Probably was inside at least 10 minutes, because it takes that much time to get through 70 people to find out where the bathroom is and to get out. She wasn't with you the entire evening. The estimated damage is some $2,000 on this car. And it's not a new car.
Yeah, it's new to me, though.
I understand that. How much did you pay for it?
Roughly $5,000.
What do you mean, roughly $5,000?
Because my mom gave it to me. And it was originally her car. So it
was originally her car, and your mother gave it to you as a gift.
Because I'm going to school and I need a car.
Terrific. And this damage that was done to the car doesn't affect its drivability.
No, but I have to look at it every day and be reminded of him.
Of course you do. And I'm sure that if I award you $2,000, you're going to find a way to have it fixed for that $2,000. So that's what I'm awarding you. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,000. That's all. Step out.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
He likes to pick fights with people, and that's what he likes to do. And that's why he obviously wasn't invited. We don't associate with people like him.
They don't have anything better to do. They can't sit down and have a conversation like we were doing the whole night. They have to, yeah, dude, where's the pie of beer?
Everyone I talk to says he's psycho.
I've had jealous gossip about me before, and I just thought this was one of those cases. We found the golf club later, but it was broken in half at that point, so.
He fights in a rage in the cage circuit. That's number one reason why he's so well known, and that's why people think he's so crazy.
University of Arizona is the way to go.
Homemaker Gail Michaud is suing the mother of her daughter's friend, Secretary Lisa Canfield, for helping her daughter run away from home.
Order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 257 on the calendar in the matter of Michaud versus Canfield. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Miss Michaud, you have a teenage daughter who's been giving you some trouble, I gather. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And it is your claim that the defendant, who also has a teenager who's a little bit of a problem, the defendant assisted your daughter in running away from a shelter where she was placed. During the course of this running away, she committed a series of crimes for which you have been held responsible for the fines.
Yes, ma'am.
And you are suing her for interfering with your daughter's custody,
yes, ma'am,
which caused you not only emotional distress, which you are suing for, but also the payment of these fines that you had to pay through the courts for the various crimes that your daughter committed while on the run.
Correct.
And you say that that was facilitated by the defendant's conduct in harboring her.
Correct.
The defendant says that she didn't know that all of this problem was going to develop when she went and picked your daughter up from a gas station where she had placed a call, that she in fact tried to get her to return and turn herself in when she found out that she had done some of these things, that she was really only trying to help.
Yes, ma'am.
Where's your daughter?
Over there.
This
in the black, ma'am.
Step up here. What's your first name?
Amber.
How old are you, Amber?
17.
How old were you when all this trouble started? 17 or 16?
16.
Does the defendant have a daughter who's a friend of yours?
She used to be my friend.
What's her name?
Lissy.
Spell it.
Lissy.
Now, Now, where were you and Lissy? Were you in a facility, in a shelter?
We were in Antrim Girl Shelter together.
And how did you get to this girl shelter?
I was put in the girl shelter for not going home for a week, the week I stayed at Lissy's house.
So your mother put you there?
No, the judge put me there because I was on probation and I was court ordered to be home.
You were on probation for what?
A lot of stuff. I don't remember exactly.
Well, was you on probation for stuff that involved your mother or stuff that involved the rest of the community, like shoplifting and stealing?
Stuff that involved the rest of the community.
So you had been arrested for committing a series of petty crimes?
Yes.
You were placed on probation. A condition of your probation was that you were to stay at home.
Yes.
And have a curfew. And
Yes.
do all the other things that a normal 16-year-old does.
Yes.
And you violated your probation, according to you. I'm just trying to put this in English so that everybody, including Bird, understands it.
Okay.
So you were told that you had to do everything right, and then you wouldn't go to jail.
Yes.
But you didn't. You went to stay at Miss Canfield's house with Lissy for a week.
Yes.
And then you were placed in this shelter by the judge because you violated the terms of your probation.
Yes.
When were you placed in the shelter with Lissy?
We met up in the shelter. I've been to the shelter like 3 times. And we met up there the first time I was there. And then it was Thanksgiving time. I stayed at her house because my probation officer told me that if I didn't stop getting in trouble, he was going to put me back in the shelter. So I went and stayed at Lissy's house. And then I decided to go home the day after Thanksgiving. And then I got sent to the shelter.
She was arrested the day after Thanksgiving, Your Honor. She called me from the Canfield residence and asked me if I was going to call the cops if she came home. I told her I wouldn't. When I hung up from her, I called the police station and told them, my daughter's on her way home. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to call you and tell you that she's here, and hang up the phone. And when she pulled in the driveway in the Canfield truck, I called the Dover Police Department and said, Amber's home, and hung up the phone. And the next thing I know, there was cops everywhere. And I did not inform her that I was going to do that. I did it because I needed to protect her. She wasn't protecting herself.
Okay. Had you, in fact, called Mrs. Canfield during this Thanksgiving week when she wasn't at the shelter?
No, ma'am, I did not. I did not know where my daughter was the week of Thanksgiving. I didn't know about Mrs. Canfield and Lizzie, other than Lizzie was Amber's friend. Amber would ask to go to Lizzie's house before Thanksgiving, and I let Amber go, not knowing the type of home that it was at the time.
Well, why didn't you know?
I guess ignorance on my part. Amber just said it was a friend of hers.
That's your job to know.
Yes, ma'am.
If you let your daughter, who's been in trouble before, go to a girl's house, and I assume you knew that she met Lissy at the shelter, right?
I wasn't sure where she had met Lizzie.
Well,
I've met
did you
Lizzie.
ask the question, where did you meet Lissy?
No, ma'am.
You're trying to place blame on this lady.
Yes, ma'am.
And I'm coming back to you and I'm saying, maybe partially her fault, but let's come back to you. What information did you have or should you have had with proper exercise of your parental responsibility? What quality information could you have gotten if you asked a few questions or did a little digging? You would have found out that Lissy was a girl that she met at the shelter, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that would have told you one thing. Trouble! Then when she said, I want to spend some time at Lissy's house, say, okay, I'm going to get in the car and go over to Miss Canfield's and we're going to have a chat because just because you met her at the shelter, maybe she's not a girl who's all bad. Maybe it would be good for you to be together. But let me speak with Mrs. Canfield and find out what kind of a lady she is, what kind of a house it is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You did none of that?
No, ma'am.
So there's a little, on your side, a little blame.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What gives you the right to say if I can't deal with my daughter and she's bipolar?
Amber's bipolar,
This one's
Your Honor.
probably bipolar too.
Yes, ma'am.
Possible bipolar, possible just bad.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Gail Michaud says when her daughter, 17-year-old Amber Burley, ran away from home, she was aided by Lisa Canfield. Gail says during that time, Amber committed a series of crimes.
Now, when you ran away, Amber, you committed another series of crimes, am I correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Like, what did you do?
When I left the shelter, I left with their van and...
The shelter's van?
Yeah.
How industrious of you.
Yes. It wasn't good on my half, and I also took allowance money.
What do you
to
mean
where I was
allowance
going.
money? Whose allowance money?
Like,
They put all the girls' allowance money in one.
All the girls, not just your allowance. So you stole money from the
Yes.
shelter. So you stole both the van and money.
Yes.
And you left with Lissy?
Lissy was at home. She had called me and told me that she was coming to get me because I had court in 2 days and I was supposed to go to the youth detention center.
Sounds like a perfect place for you.
Well, Lissy called and told me she was coming to get me, and then I called her house back and I talked to her mom and I informed her mom that I was coming.
Is that what she said to you?
No, Your Honor, that's not
What
what
did she say?
said. She had called a couple days before and had talked to Lissy, and then at one point had left a message on the answering machine for Lissy. I didn't realize she was going to leave placement at that time.
But you went and picked her up according to the complaint that I read.
A couple nights later at 2 o'clock in the morning, she called me and said she had been in an accident, and I didn't know that she had stolen the van. I didn't know that's how she had left placement, Your Honor.
Yes?
When I called Lissy, I told Lissy.
I'm not talking about Lissy, I'm talking about her mother.
Her mother. I told her mother that I stole the van and the money, I got into a car accident, and I needed a ride home. And I told her that I'd give her...
Baloney!
That's not what she said.
Bull! I don't believe that you told her I stole. Okay. I stole the van and I stole money, please come and get me, because I had an accident. That I don't believe. I might believe that you said to her I had an accident, and then later on she found out that you had stolen the van. But I don't believe that you right up front said to her I stole the van. Why would she come and pick you up? Is she crazy?
Because I gave her $50 for coming to get me. With the stolen money, I said, can you please come and get me? I will give you $50.
That I believe. That you said to her, please, I was in an accident, come and get me, I'll give you $50. That I believe.
After I told her that I stole the money.
That I don't believe.
I did.
I mean, I don't know anything about her. All I know about you is that you're a liar, that you're a thief, that you place your needs over the needs of everybody else. So if I have to rely on my common sense would dictate to me that when you got on the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning, you wouldn't say anything that would turn off an alarm in her head and say, I better not get involved with this, that you would say, please, I had an accident, come and get me, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And she said, I don't think I want to do that. And you said, I'll give you $50 if you come and get me. And she may not be the nicest person. I mean, I may not entrust her with my grandchildren, but she doesn't sound to me like she's psychotic. You'd have to be psychotic to come and pick you up when you told her, I stole the van that I'm in, and I stole the money that I have, and I'm going to give you $50 of the stolen money. That doesn't jive with my common sense. In any event, you should have known better, Miss Canfield, because you knew where your daughter met her. You knew a lot more about her than just that she was a nice young girl from around the neighborhood that your daughter was palling around with. So you should have kept your nose out of other people's business.
Well,
right?
what was I didn't feel right leaving her in the middle of a snowstorm.
Tell her to call the police.
In a car accident.
Tell her to call the police, Miss Canfield.
I didn't do that. I just...
Well, I know you didn't do that, but you should have.
Yeah, well, I probably should
Well,
have.
you should have. Why didn't you say to her, why don't you call your mother?
Because she told me her mother doesn't have a license.
When did she tell you her mother doesn't have a license?
A long time ago, when she first started coming to our house.
Call another relative. Do you understand what I mean, Miss Canfield?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you understand that I believe that either through your own stupidity or whatever, you aided her in doing the wrong thing.
And that was not my intention, Your Honor.
Well, it may not have been your intention, but that's exactly what you did. When you went to pick her up, before you went, you did call her mother and tell her, I'm going to pick up your daughter.
Not at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Why not?
Because I didn't even have her phone number.
Why didn't you say to her, give me your mother's phone number? I wanted to know where you are.
Because I figured if she wanted to call her mother, she would have.
There's your problem. She's 16.
And I know that she had some problems with her mother before. That's why she came to my house at Thanksgiving.
That's not your business. You chose to let that be your business.
Because I feel bad for kids sometimes.
You having trouble with your own daughter?
Yes, and that's why I feel bad for kids sometimes.
That doesn't make you a poster mom for Dr. Spock.
No,
That makes you somebody who's had trouble rearing their own teenage daughter and doesn't make you an expert in child rearing. So you don't have enough parental skills to take care of your own daughter. What gives you the right to take care of somebody else's daughter who's a problem?
Bipolar has nothing to do with parental skills.
Oh, yes, just a second.
It's a disorder.
Just listen to me very carefully. I haven't heard that she's been diagnosed with being a bipolar.
My daughter has.
But what gives you the right to say if I can't deal with my daughter and she's bipolar?
Amber's bipolar,
This one's
Your Honor.
probably bipolar too.
Yes, ma'am.
Maybe. you know, a lot of bad behavior has been attributed to a lot. They always like to put a label on things. You know, label instead of just being a rebellious teenager, just being somebody who is naughty, just being somebody who is undisciplined. Possible bipolar, possible just bad. People don't like to use that term. But it is possible. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
You believe that Miss Canfield is responsible for all your troubles with regard to this incident. Is that right?
No, ma'am, I don't believe she's responsible for all of them.
Good. You are at least partially responsible. You should have known where she was. You should have known who Miss Canfield was. You should have visited her home.
Yes, ma'am.
You should have gotten some information about her before you let your daughter go there.
Yes, ma'am.
Stop moving around. Sorry. Okay. Now, what was the extent of your fines?
Right now, I'm still pending fines for something that also took place while I was at Miss Canfield's house. Me and her daughter went to a car dealership and took a bunch of cars. We took them to Miss Canfield's house. They were there for 2 days, and then we woke up one day and decided we were going to go see my dad. So we took one of the cars to Lissy's mom's work. We showed her the car. We told her that we were going to go up to my dad's. And then Lissy decided to go with her boyfriend. I went with my dad. I ended up in a high-speed chase.
You went with your dad?
Yes.
Did your father say, where did you get the car from?
My father called the police on me.
And is that when you got into the high-speed chase?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that where you were finally apprehended?
No, I was caught at Miss Canfield's house 3 days later.
I see. So you beat the police in the chase?
Yes, and I went to a phone and called Lisa and asked her to come get me.
I see. So in this high-speed chase, you lost them at the border of New Hampshire?
Nope, they followed me all the way to Dover. They were right behind me. We just jumped out of the car, and because it was the town that I lived in, we knew it, and the police officer didn't, so we all just
Who's
ran.
the we? All?
There was me, Randy, Nicole, and Brittany in the car.
Where'd you get them from?
Lisa's house.
No, they weren't at my house.
Where did you meet them?
Nicole is my best friend. I've known her since I was 12. And
Does she have any psychiatric problems?
No.
Huh?
No, ma'am.
So she's not bipolar?
No, she's not.
And who else?
Not yet.
I met Randy at Miss Canfield's house.
So how long do you know Randy?
I knew him for like 2 weeks.
He's not bipolar, is he?
He's nuts. I don't know if he's bipolar.
You don't think you're nuts, do you?
I was. Not no more.
Oh, good. Maybe it was the 5.5 months you spent in the juvenile facility.
Yeah.
When you were in the juvenile facility, I'm really curious about this. Were you on medication?
Yes.
How often?
I took 900 milligrams of lithium once a day.
And now?
Same thing. It's court ordered for me to take it.
You staying closer to home these days?
I live with my mom now.
I asked you if you're staying closer to home.
Yes.
You doing anything like going to school?
I recently enrolled back in high school, and I participate in community service at youth resources. In
Not
Denver.
voluntarily, I assume.
Yes, voluntarily.
What happened as a result of stealing the van and stealing the money?
I got a $650 fine, and I spent 5 months and 3 days in the youth detention center.
Oh, well, that's an eye-opener. Did you like it?
No, I didn't.
I assume not. And I assume that you would prefer not to go back there.
No, never.
No, never. You know what the youth detention facility is like after spending 5 months there?
Yes, I do.
Paradise compared to adult jail. Paradise. Miss Canfield, did there ever come a time when your daughter and Amber came to your house and had a couple of cars with them?
When
The answer is either yes or no.
I was at work, so I'm trying to answer you the best I can. I know the car, one of the cars was there because it drove over my septic system, and I saw where it drove over when I got home.
What kind of car was it?
I have no idea.
Was it a new car or an old car?
It was new.
New car?
Yes.
Didn't you ask about it?
Well, it wasn't at my house when I got home. I just know there had been a car at my home because it drove over the back lawn.
Didn't you ask about it?
Yes.
And what did your daughter tell you?
She said they had taken a car, and I told them to take it back.
Did you call the police?
No, I did not.
Look, Your problem, Miss Canfield, in all of this is that I gather from the papers that you either were found guilty or pled guilty in the criminal court to somehow interfering with the plaintiff's custody of her daughter. Is that true?
In order to get the deal, I had to plead guilty to all charges.
There you go. So you pled guilty?
Yes, I did.
Ms. Canfield, as I indicated to you before, even if I didn't find that you were responsible in any way for this young lady's antics, you already acknowledged that you were responsible for this young lady's antics, or at least partially responsible by your guilty plea in the criminal court.
Well,
I think that her mother is more responsible than she's willing to acknowledge in not making sure where her daughter was.
Ma'am, I take responsibility for what...
Good. Well, then you're suing the
in my
plaintiff for $5,000. That includes your emotional distress, part of which you're responsible for.
Yes, ma'am.
And the fines. So I think so far she's responsible for all the fines and you're responsible for your own emotional distress. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $650. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I called Lisa and she told me it was none of my business where my daughter was.
First of all, Ms. Michaud just stood here and lied.
My daughter was in 2 car accidents. Lisa never sought medical attention for her.
And said that I told her it was none of her business.
My daughter was found there by multiple police officers.
I didn't say that. I told her that her daughter wasn't at my house at the time.
With their guns drawn. A gun was put to my daughter's head.
Ms. Michaud called the police. They came to my house.
Because there was a robbery that she harbored another child at her house, a 17-year-old who armed robbed a store.
And this girl was there, and I told them all that they couldn't be there.
I think that I take life more seriously now.
Not allow anybody in my house ever again.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Edwards versus Douglas. Step forward, please.
Regulatory analyst Tanya Edwards is suing her ex-boyfriend, financial analyst Benjamin Douglas, for the cost of furniture. Tanya says she's paying for items that are in his possession.
Miss Edwards, you claim loans to the defendant for some furniture. And what I gather happened is there was a time that you and the defendant were living together. Is that right?
That's correct.
You also have a child together.
That's correct.
And this furniture was some living room furniture and also some furniture for his son from another relationship.
That's correct.
Is that right?
No,
Is that the furniture?
No, ma'am.
What kind of furniture are we talking about, sir?
We're just talking about regular furniture. I have.
Regular furniture, as opposed to irregular furniture.
Well,
what furniture? So, living room furniture was purchased on her credit card,
correct.
and bedroom furniture for your son
Correct.
was purchased on her credit card.
Correct.
I knew I would get it down to simple English so that we could all understand each other. In what month and year was the furniture purchased, madam?
May 2001.
And when did you leave his residence?
I left his residence in January 2001.
You mean you left his residence before you bought the furniture?
That's correct.
Why did you buy it?
Because at that time we were still together, but we decided to live in different households. I purchased my home, and he decided to live at his own home. At his own home.
But you were going to move back together, and you did for a while.
No, we did not. We never moved back then together.
Your Honor, that was our second time being together. We had previously been together, but I was under the impression that this was going to be a joint venture together with the purchase of this furniture.
So she bought the furniture when she wasn't living with you, is that right?
Correct.
On her credit card?
Correct.
Oh, that makes this case so much easier. You had a relationship, you have a child together, she purchased the furniture on her credit card, put it in your house where you were living alone, not with her.
Correct.
Correct?
Correct.
Okay. Now you're not together anymore, either living together or not living together, but you're not a couple anymore, is that right?
That would be correct.
That's correct.
That would be correct. And who has the furniture?
I do.
And who's paying for the furniture?
I am.
No, 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 no. No, no, no. That doesn't sound fair to me, Mr. Douglas. Under any circumstances that you have the furniture that she's paying for. Does that sound fair to you?
I mean, no, Your Honor, it doesn't sound.
Good. Look how wonderful this is. What an easy case.
I mean, it doesn't sound fair, but at the same time, I don't feel like the primary cost I should be liable for all of the costs.
Who's sitting on the furniture?
I mean, my butt is sitting on furniture.
That's right. Who's sleeping in your son's bed?
My son.
Who should pay for that? Her? Every month?
No, I mean, I'm not saying that she's liable for all of the charges. I'm just saying that with the intent of us being together, I was under the impression that it was going to be a joint venture.
But it's not anymore. That's your impression, but it didn't happen, sir. So what you could have done is you could have done several things. Let's say that was your intention. And let's say that was the intention of both of you. But it didn't work out, so that you can sell the furniture and say, look, let's pay off as much as we can on this credit card debt. Let's see if we can pay it off. Or if you want the furniture, you can keep the furniture. You take over the credit card bills. But why should she pay the bills and you have the furniture?
I mean, I was in the assumption, like I said, Your Honor, that it was.
I heard it. Don't repeat yourself. I heard it. I mean, doesn't it sound stupid to you? You have the furniture. Your keister is sitting on it watching television. Your son is sleeping on it like a baby. And she's paying the bill. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? It sounds ridiculous to me. Does it sound ridiculous to you?
No.
What?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous to Bert. And he might, and I want to tell you something, he doesn't always agree with me. Sometimes he would say, no, you know, the man's got a point.
I mean, you can agree with me. I mean.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,700. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
If she was concerned about the furniture, she would have pursued this a long time ago.
I'm just finally glad we have everything settled. I don't have to deal with it anymore.
I obviously thought that she was responsible or liable for at least half of the furniture.
Do not purchase anything unless you're married or legally married, and not just common law married.
Don't get no furniture that don't belong to you.
Her friend, Darian Jenkins, owes for unpaid loans and bail money from a false arrest.
Mr. Valenzuela, it is your claim that the defendant, who is a friend of yours, owes you for some small loans that you made to him.
Yes.
And then it is your claim that he had you falsely arrested.
Yes.
And you want damages for that. You've known him for a while, according to your complaint. You knew him, you were friendly with him, and then he moved out of state and then moved back. Where did you move to, sir?
To Colorado.
And you moved to Colorado from where?
From Texas.
And in Texas is where you knew the plaintiff?
Yes.
In what year did you move to Colorado?
2019.
And in what year did you move back to Texas?
This year, 2022.
And why did you move back?
Why did I move back?
You moved to Colorado for what?
My family was up there, yeah. And then my family went back to Texas.
Oh, so you moved with your family?
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Did you live with your family in Colorado? Did you have a job?
Yes, I did.
Where?
I worked from home.
What kind of work?
For a newspaper.
In Colorado?
Yes.
What did you do in Texas?
Whenever I moved back, I was still working from home, but they let me go. I got laid off.
When did you get laid off?
I would say June.
June of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
And what month did you move back to Texas?
Oh, I had already moved back in May.
When you moved back in May, where did you go to live?
I was living in hotels.
But there came a point when you had no money.
It got to a point.
When did it get to a point when you had no money?
Maybe July.
And when did you contact Mr. Valenzuela?
I'd say July.
You didn't contact him in...
I mean, we talked while I lived in Colorado. You know, we always text each other, so...
Well, when you contacted him in July, what did you say to him?
I couldn't say exactly what I said, but...
Give me the gist of it.
Let me borrow some money, I guess.
Okay. And you needed it for living?
Right.
And what did he say to you?
He did, sometimes, if I asked him.
Okay. And how much did he give you?
Here and there, maybe 100, maybe 2 every...
No, altogether.
Altogether? Oh, I couldn't say how much altogether.
You couldn't say?
I couldn't say, maybe a few hundred.
Did he give you money for housing?
A couple times he did.
How much?
100 here, 100
Do you have
there.
a record of how much you gave him, sir?
I do.
Okay, because he's already said, and would you read that back to me, Whitney, please, about borrowing?
Said, let me borrow some money.
Right. Okay, let me borrow some money. So tell me how much money you let him borrow.
$1,200.
Show me.
These are screenshots of every time I sent him money.
Oh, can I see it, please? Okay, get ready, Sarah Rose. Anybody who came could see that your lip was bloody. You say he fell, must have fallen outside. You don't know how that happened. But if you both are alleging that there was a fight, police would look at you and say, well, he's injured. They wouldn't have arrested you unless you had him on.
Valenzuela is suing his former friend, Darian Jenkins, for unpaid loans and damages from an assault.
So every time you gave him money...
He agreed to pay me back.
No, he's already told me that he'd called you and asked if he could borrow some money, and you said yes, and he said, I don't know how I'm going to add them all up. Okay. Of all the money that you said that you borrowed from him, how much did you pay back?
120.
Good guess. Did he give you back $120?
No.
Did he give you back anything?
No.
Nothing ever?
No.
Okay. So while Sarah is adding that up, there came a point when you left the hotel. Is that right?
Yes.
And Mr. Valenzuela probably got tired of giving you money and said that you could stay in a spare room in his house.
For the most part, yes.
And you moved in August of 2022, the end of August.
Yes.
And then in September, you had a fight. I don't care what the fight was about. It became physical?
He was physical, yes.
No, I wasn't, Your Honor. No, I wasn't.
Let's say you had an argument that spilled out into the street, because this becomes very important because of him.
Right.
Right. He says, yes, you had an argument, but you weren't arrested on his allegation that you assaulted him, but you were arrested and held on an outstanding warrant. When the police responded, they found that there was an outstanding warrant. So now I want you to tell me, in September of 2022, did you have an outstanding warrant? That's either a yes or a no.
Well, it was on a payment plan.
I don't care what it was. Did you have an outstanding warrant?
Yes.
And the outstanding warrant was for a what?
Traffic tickets.
What kind of traffic ticket?
I think I was speeding, and I didn't have my license either.
So think speeding, driving without a license, and no insurance.
And no tags.
And no tags. And for that, you got fined.
Yes.
And you didn't pay the fine.
I was paying it.
Well, there wasn't a warrant outstanding because you were cooperating and paying the fines.
The county that I'm in, they said, the police officer said, it doesn't matter if you're on a payment plan. They'll arrest you if they want to.
Mr. Valenzuela, did you miss payments on your fine?
Yes.
Perfect. And so when the police responded to this kerfuffle that was out in the street, when they ran both your names, your name came up with an active warrant.
Yes.
Well, that's easy. So that you were arrested on the outstanding warrant.
I would have never been arrested, though, if he wouldn't have acted.
If he didn't call the police.
No, he didn't call the police.
Who did?
My neighbor did, because the way he was acting.
So your neighbor called the police, but for the outstanding warrant, I don't know whether the police would have taken you into custody to fallen outside. You don't know how that happened. It's really not relevant to this case. But if I were the police and I showed up, you didn't have any visible injuries, right? No, you had a busted lip. If you both are alleging that there was a fight, police would look at you and say, well, he's injured. He's got a busted lip, got to sew it up. They wouldn't have arrested you unless you had a warrant, right?
Right.
Good. So that's not his fault that you had a warrant. It's not his fault.
Have that total. It's $2,727.56, and that's including some direct payments to Motel 6s.
Because you didn't make any payments. $27.27.
I mean, there's no way he expected me to pay. I never said I was going to pay him that back.
Well, you told me that you asked him if you could borrow some money. That's what you said.
A couple times I asked to borrow money, but the entirety of that, all that, like, I didn't say I was going to pay that back. And he should know he was just being nice.
He was being nice.
Sometimes he offered.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore.
You have a job now?
Yes.
Okay, great. 27-27. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished. Thank you.
This court is adjourned.
I think he was just mad overall, so he just picked something to get me back with.
Just like he said, he thought I was being nice. Why would you say you're going to pay me back, but then not pay me back?
He was screaming, yeah, he was screaming, just screaming, cussing, like, embarrassing.
He was acting crazy, and because he was acting crazy, he woke up the whole neighborhood?
Well, he was drunk, going crazy outside, running around the apartment complex, so she called the cops on him.
That's what made my neighbor. That thing comes good out of it, so.
Just something funny from the receipts that I was looking at. Some of them say the price really big on Venmo or Cash App, and then it just says completed at the bottom. On some of them, though, you could see heart emojis that the defendant sent thanking him, basically acknowledging that he received the money payment, sent a red heart emoji, and some of them were at very odd hours of the night, like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, some direct to Motel 6, some direct to other housing accommodations.
It's so interesting.
But I liked the receipts. I liked the
I never
paper trail.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
made it easy.
It's true. And because when people say I gave him cash, and
even with an ATM slip.
Caretaker Jessica Washington for stolen money, travel costs, and elder abuse.
Miss Coleman, how old is your mother?
90.
Do you live with her?
I do.
How long have you been living with her?
3 years.
You're her primary caretaker?
Yes, ma'am.
She suffers from?
Dementia.
For how long?
I identified it in December of 2019. And I just stayed from that point on, sleeping on her couch.
At some point, you had to go out of town for a period of time.
Yes.
You hired the defendant?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you get to her?
My cousin Andrea was friends with her, and she said that she would be a great candidate.
Did you interview her?
I spoke with her later on. She came by the house, and...
What date did you first speak to her?
Maybe about a day or days.
And tell me, Miss Washington, are you employed now?
Yes, I am.
By whom?
Well, I do self-employment, and I also have my own little business on the side as well, caring for elderly people.
Okay. Did you have any special training for the care of the elderly?
I got my AED and my CPR. No, not really, because basically I've been just dealing with family members.
For how long?
I'm going to say at least like 5 years.
And you had no special training for the care of the elderly? Okay, and did you explain that to the plaintiff?
She knew.
Caretaker Jessica Washington stole money from her mother, who suffers from dementia.
Okay. On what day were you supposed to report to take care of her mother?
August 11th.
Did you?
Yes, I did.
Who was there?
It was Miss Coleman and her mother.
And the arrangement that you made with her was for 7 days, and you would be living with her mother?
For 7 days.
And what was she to pay you for the 7 days?
We never discussed a payment.
Well, this is what you were doing for a living, and you had jobs for the last 5 years. Is not an answer. Yes is the answer. And when you work for other people who you'll tell me about, what did you charge them?
I didn't really charge them anything. That's why I'm saying me and her never discussed a price, because
it's about. You watched her mother for 1 day, and then you left. And according to her, her mother fell. When you left, after the 1 day, she had left $400, and you took the $400. That's what she says when you left. Your answer is that you earned that $400 in the 1 day. That's why you took it. You have a counterclaim because she has said to someone that what you did amounted to elder abuse. Now, you started on the 11th. Tell me when you left.
The date that I left was August 12th at 4. Pick her mother up off the floor, which her cousin told me to leave.
No. You can't tell me what anybody else told you. Prior to 4:30 on the 12th, did Miss Coleman's mother suffer a fall?
Yes, she did.
Okay. And where did she fall?
She fell on the floor. She was sitting at the table where I was sitting at as well, too. I got up to use the bathroom.
At 4:30 in the morning?
We was up all night.
Could you tell me why?
Because she was waiting for her daughter to come back, because before her daughter left out the house, being as though that the lady has dementia and Alzheimer's, they think about the future, the past, and the present. She's thinking that her daughter is coming back because her daughter said, "I will be right back." So that's why she sat up all night long. I was trying to put her to bed. She didn't want to go to bed, so I called.
Okay, so you were there a little less than 12 hours, right? You came at 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
On
and
the
at
11th.
4:30, and at 4:30 in the morning, you left.
I didn't actually leave. I was told to leave.
But you left.
Yeah, and I didn't want to.
I don't care whether you wanted to or not. It's not particularly relevant whether you wanted to or not. I understand what happened. You left, and when you left, you took the $400 that you found.
Because the mother told me to.
You mean the mother with dementia and Alzheimer's?
Yes, her mother told me to.
Just a second. You mean the mother with dementia and Alzheimer's who you stayed up with? She said you had to come home from your travel. She's not responsible for that. She has to return the $400 to you. You told me 2 minutes ago, Miss Washington, that you never discussed fee.
We did.
Because this is not a question and answer. You didn't even know whether you were going to charge her anything, because as far as you were concerned, it's family. Is not an answer. And you listened to The woman that you had been hired to care for because she has dementia and Alzheimer's and had fallen, and she said to you, take this $400, it's yours. What if she told you to take a piece of her jewelry? Would you have taken that?
No.
Yeah. You would have taken it because she gave it to you.
Because I'm not no thief. I wouldn't.
No, that's not what I'm telling you. You say that you took this $400 because this woman who can't make a judgment told you to take it. What if she said to you, I want you to have my pearls, plaintiff, in the amount of $400? I'll take a look at the instance that you have on your counterclaim for slander when she says that you are guilty of elder abuse. What do you have to show me?
It's in a court order.
What do you mean it was in a court order?
It is. She went and filed elder's abuse on me, plus the traveling expenses, too. I have that court order.
Just a second. Is that what you're telling me? In her case against you for the $400 and for any other travel expenses, which I'm dismissing, that part of her claim.
I think the judge did a great job. I assume that she would be able to deal with my mother. It's difficult being a caregiver, and we as people need to do much more to protect our elderly.
We've seen a couple of these cases, and it's so unfortunate to see the elderly, and whether they're ill or sick or mentally not capable of caring for themselves anymore, zero training that some of these people have to really care for them, and it's scary. We've seen it too many times, and $400 on the counter to someone to just take it for 12 hours worth of work.
You know, it's always struck me as a shame that society has and the government has created situations where you need licenses to do certain things. So you have to go to school, you have to pass an exam, you need a license to have a dog. But the most vulnerable people in the population, those people who, as she said, she didn't know whether her daughter was coming back or not coming back. She said she'd be right back, so she was waiting up for her. That vulnerable person, when it worked to the defendant's advantage, said, well, she was perfectly capable of saying to me,
take the money.
Take the money. Yeah. Terrible. Really frightening.
Want justice? Go to judyjustice.tv. Michael Breland are suing Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, for car repairs and damage credit.
Miss Breland, this is your stepfather.
Yes.
That's your dad.
Yes.
This is your claim. He needed a car because his car, which was an old Cadillac, was going in for repair. Your dad had bought you a car in 2018.
Yes.
And when he bought you this car in 2018, it was a 2013 car that you kept 18, 19, and 20?
The vehicle? No, I had the vehicle from 2018 to July 2019.
So just for 1 year?
Yep, July in 2019 was when I made the agreement to give the vehicle to...
Okay. You made the agreement to give it to your stepfather with the proviso, because you were buying a new car, another car.
Yes.
According to you, that he would take over the payments on the car because there was a loan on the car that you were paying off and that your father was a signatory on.
Yes.
And you have children, and I don't know why this car was no good for you anymore, but you said you got another car because of your children.
Yes, I got another vehicle because I had an additional son, and it just wasn't enough room for 3 kids.
What kind of car is it?
It was a GMC Terrain. It's an SUV 5-passenger, but I felt like I needed a little bit more room, so I ended up...
And the car would be turned over to him as soon as he finished making the payments on the car.
Yes.
Was that your agreement with him?
Yes, that was our agreement.
And he did make payments on the car in 2019, 2020, 2021, and according to you, he stopped making payments in 2022. What month in 2022?
January 2022 was the last payment I received.
As a result of which, both of your credits were at risk. He dropped the car off at some relative's house because the engine was blown. He had it towed to some relative's house and stopped making the payments.
Yes, that is correct.
Your stepfather says, well, that really wasn't the agreement. My Cadillac wasn't working. It was in the shop in 2019. And the agreement was, while the car was in the shop, I would use your car and pay you $225 a month for it. But as soon as my car was out of the shop, you would take the car back. That's what you say, sir.
Yes. Yeah, I would take it back until my car got fixed. And the only reason it took so long to get fixed because of the pandemic. At that time, I really didn't have the money to go and pay for it, so I just...
Well, that's your problem.
I understand that.
Well, that's your problem. So the car was fixed, but you didn't have the money to go and pick up the car.
No, it wasn't fixed.
Oh.
So I didn't have them fix it until I'd be able to get the money to go have it fixed.
Did you explain that to her, sir, when she gave you the car?
No. See, my agreement thought I was going to keep the car until my car gets fixed and I would make the monthly payment. That's what I had.
I understand that, but what...
Yeah.
I understand that.
Okay.
Mr. Chenal.
Yes.
But taking your story, if my stepfather said to me, listen, I'll take your car, I have a car that's in the shop, I'll use it and pay for it while the car's being fixed.
Not what?
In my view, that would be, well, maybe it would take you 2 weeks. Maybe it would take you a month. Maybe it would take you 2 months. But it wouldn't take you 3 years.
Your Honor, what I'm saying, my car wasn't in the shop, my car was broke down. And I told her, I thought we had agreement to me make the payment on that car till I get ready to get
You told me that already.
Car fixed, but...
Had it.
Yeah, okay.
You devalued the car. You got a car that was running. You used the car for 2.5 years that was running. It stopped running because the engine was blown.
Yes.
So it was dead stop. You had to have it towed to somebody's house.
Yes.
And then you stopped making the payments on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Right.
I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
While Mary was planning everyone else's love life, she didn't have one of her own.
Mary, meet my parents.
You give my little girl whatever she wants.
This is Mary, the wedding planner. You cannot sacrifice your entire career over this. I can do this. I can plan this wedding.
What you have is cold feet.
And that's just what I'm going to do. Because I love a challenge. And because I am a professional.
Kashana and Michael Breland claim Kashana's stepdad, Harry Schnall, owes for car repairs and damage credit.
Now, you have to act not only responsibly, but it would seem to me morally. This is your stepdaughter. You've known her for a long time.
Yes.
She went out, based upon her agreement with you, she went out and bought another car.
Yes.
Does the other car have a loan?
Yes.
Well, now she's stuck with 2 loans. And one of them has a car that you blew the engine on.
I made sure the main was up on that car. I think she had a lemon because...
She didn't have a lemon. You drove it for 2 years.
Yes, but I just had got the oil changed in that car a month before the engine blew. I don't know why the engine blew.
How many years did you have the car?
2 years.
And you drove it for 2 years.
Yes.
Well, then it wasn't a lemon.
Okay.
How much was left on the loan of the car?
There is still $3,752.63 owed left on the vehicle.
Okay, and where is the car now?
It is parked at a relative's house.
Your problem is the car is in your name. So you have to sell the car, subject to this lien. You have to be able to get something for the car. Do you understand?
Around $7,000 to $9,000.
And what if it's in very poor condition?
I have to look into it.
Take a look and see, because this car so far is not running.
Yeah.
And it hasn't been running for almost now a year.
Yes, that's correct.
So at best you can sell it for scrap. So you have to get the car and you can scrap it because nobody's going to buy it when they can't drive it.
So Kelley Blue Book will not provide an estimate for poor conditions, vehicles that are not running or in poor condition. But for a fair condition, they say between $5,000 and $6,000.
Well, this is non-running.
I know.
I've been not running for a year.
I can't get an estimate for a non-running vehicle from Kelley Blue Book.
So now I know what the parameters are. You want to tell me about where this agreement took place with your stepfather?
The agreement took place at the car lots because I was in the middle of getting a new vehicle, so we were at the car lot.
So that was in 2019?
July 3rd, 2019.
So you went with him to get the new car?
Yes.
Oh, good. So tell me about the conversation.
So I asked him, I was like, hey, do you think that, because in order for me to get this new vehicle, so I said, hey, how does this sound? You're down a vehicle because the engine blew on your prior vehicle. How about I give you this car, you finish making the payments on it, and then I get my new vehicle. But in order for me to get my new vehicle, I needed a co-signer. So I said, how about this? How about you co-sign on this new vehicle for me,
Yes, my stepfather. You co-sign on this new vehicle for me. I'll make the payments like I always do, and you just take over the payments on my GMC Terrain. He said, okay, yep, we can do that because I need another vehicle.
So he is the co-signatory on your new car?
That at the time, that was the vehicle that I had. I now have a different vehicle.
You mean in 2019 you had yet another car?
Yes. But I made sure that I paid it off and there was no effect to him by any means. Okay. Because I knew that, it wasn't just in my name, it was in his name also. So I didn't want to do that to him. So I made sure that not only did I pay the vehicle off, but I got the transmission repaired and then I sold it.
So what does your father have to do with this case?
So my father was affected because with the payments being late.
The car was in my name also.
Oh, so it was in joint names, you and your daughter.
Well, they were supposed to put it as me, the co-signer, but they put me as the
primary.
Exactly.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Have you been making the payments since January?
Single mom of four kids.
So what happened?
So it's behind now.
Since September?
Yep, it's behind since
September, October, November. So it's behind 3 months.
Yes.
Had they notified you that they want to repossess it?
No.
They haven't notified.
Repo. They've given us options to try to save our credit after.
Okay, I'd like to see what those options are. Did they send it to you in writing?
No.
Did they send you a letter?
It was verbal on the phone when they called, and we were discussing other options that they may offer to.
Okay, so
make
what was the
this so
best
it's not
option
worse.
that they offered you?
The best option that they offered was basically to come up with about $396 to pay to get the car note caught up because it was 4 months behind. The car note's $225 each month. So it wouldn't have got...
No. So they didn't offer you a whole payout. They just offered you...
To catch up.
To catch up.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. But still, what's due and owing on the car is $3,752.
Yes.
Okay. And use it until his Cadillac got...
No, Your Honor, that is incorrect.
Okay. You remember going with your stepdaughter when she was purchasing a new car in 2019?
Yes, I do.
Did you co-sign that car for her?
Yes.
So far what she says is accurate.
Yes.
And at that time, did you take her old car?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I have no idea what you can get for this car. And you know how you relied on him to be a good guy and to do what he was supposed to do?
Yes.
I'm awarding you $3,752. That's for you to pay off the bank. Then I don't think you can find a buyer for this car. You may have to scrap it, right?
Yes.
It's possible that there's no point in fixing it. You're not going to invest thousands of dollars in fixing it when it probably is at best worth $5,000. And if it's going to cost you $3,000 to try to get it up and running, it doesn't pay. It doesn't pay. So I'm going to rely on you to do the right thing. It sounds as if you do that while I'm awarding you $3,752, whatever money you get for the car goes to him. Do you understand? If you scrap it for $70, he gets it. I don't see that it's worth much more. I certainly wouldn't invest in a car that's been sitting dead for a year with a blown engine. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,752 with him.
So I paid for the car until I get my car fixed.
I've tried multiple times to reach out to him, and I couldn't get a hold of him, so it's really sad that it had to come to this.
She had to do what she had to do. That's all I can say.
I've learned that you can't help anyone, not even family.
Time to move on. Go on about my business, yes.
I'm a nice person, so I guess you just sometimes can't be nice to everyone.
You know what's so disappointing? She seems like a very lovely young lady. Her father seems like a nice man. He had actually helped to purchase the first car, and I think co-signed a loan for her or bought her the car in 2018 that she then turned over to him. But he's been her stepfather for a long time. How could you be so irresponsible?
And she's a single parent of 4 children who relies a lot on her credit.
And her credit on her car.
And
she's maintained her credit.
Yes, except for the fact that her stepfather sort of ruined it for her a little.
He really didn't have a defense.
No.
I don't think he had a defense. I don't think that you borrow somebody's car until your car is fixed 3 years later.
Hi, xin chào các bạn. Chào mừng các bạn đã đến với kênh của mình. Hôm nay chúng ta hãy cùng tô màu cho bức tranh về hình ảnh một bông hoa nhé. Chúng ta hãy cùng bắt đầu thôi nào. Sẽ tô lá cây màu này.